Question. How do we call him?
He gave us a signal.
What up, Gotham Guardians and Arkham Adversaries? It is your boy Trey of the Bat Channel. And we are live once again from the Bat Cave, ready to talk about the new Flash movie, the long-awaited Flash movie that's been delayed numerous times. And hell, just even a Flash movie has been delayed for like 30 years. What do you think about it? So kind of a big moment to finally see the Scarlet Speedster on the big screen finally in his own film. But guys, it is good to see everyone here. We have I think it's going to be a crazy show. I'm not sure what to expect from Super Bro Corey. Normally when like we really enjoy a movie, he'll like message me or I'll message him and we'll chat about it and like be like, oh, this is crazy. I haven't heard anything from him, which tells me he's gonna come at me hot. I may have some stuff to prepare for here, but that's what makes this show all the more fun. Let's not waste any more time. Let's bring in my boy Super Bro Corey, the best co-host I could ever ask for. How you doing, Super Bro?
Hold on to your butts.
Corey, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Hold on to your butts, indeed. This is going to be an intense show today.
Oh dear,
intense show. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts. It's going to be an interesting ride or run, one might say.
A run, yes, indeed. I'm definitely excited to talk about it because obviously, I think if you're just paying attention on Twitter, this film is it's mixed, and I kind of laugh about it because I actually got kind of chewed at in one of my trailer reactions saying that, hey, it seems like the early reactions to this movie are mixed, and people are like, it's not mixed, it's all positive. Is it though?
I might chew on you a little bit.
Well, I had a positive experience, but guys, as I said, today's gonna be a fun show because when the Flash movies come out, I have to bring in my boy, my Flash expert, the man him as Fresto. Corey, bring in my boy. Fresto, how you doing?
Tell me first, do you bleed?
Yes. I was hoping you were going to do that.
All right. I'm doing fantastic.
How the hell are you able to do that on your microphone?
I have technology. I have an audio mixer sitting on my desk.
That's awesome, dude.
That my mic goes through and then inputs the audio into the computer.
Now, are you a Flash expert or are you Batman right now? Because you're coming in with some Batman lines. You having me confused, big fella. What's up, Mikey Sons? Good to see you, sir.
Hey, Mikey.
Guys, first off, how's your weekend? How's everyone doing? We just celebrated Father's Day. Shout out to all the superhero fathers out there. What did you guys do this weekend?
I'm gonna let you go first, though.
Father's Day, I had dinner at my grandfather's house with my father and my uncle and whatnot. And Saturday is actually when I saw the movie, so that's what I did for them most of that day. Other than that, I played a lot of video games. That's what
Nice.
my life consists of right now.
Hey, I mean, there's some good games. I'm still going through a Jedi Survivor right now, which I have to ask, Ben, because you went to the movies. What was the theater situation? Was it sold out? Was it a few people? What time did you go on Saturday? Was it early showing?
It was. I mean, it was like a 12:30. It was a 12:30 movie.
Okay.
Was the time, and I don't tend to look around the area too much. With the theaters at the one we usually go to. You don't really get to, because of the walls between the rows. You don't really get to see the other rows too much. But my row was packed. I think every seat in my row was occupied.
Nice. Cool. I did that. Well, that's nice. I got to spend time with the outside family and got to enjoy the weekend. Super Bro, I have no idea what you did.
You know damn well what I did this weekend. I hung out with you up on a mountain with Dad, Mom, and Wonder Wife as well. It was a fantastic weekend. It was good seeing you. It's been since Thanksgiving since I saw you guys. So
I was dragged to see the guy. I was told I had to see Corey. I was really there just for Dad and Mom, but
I don't blame you. It was good seeing you though, bud. I've missed you. So I regretted what I said there.
Emotional damage. Corey, that just to let you know, I got that live. Everyone here heard it. Yeah. Corey missed me. He said it.
Yep,
I'm going to clip that, and that's our new YouTube short.
Oh boy, man! But yeah, it was good. It was a great weekend. I really enjoyed seeing Wonder Wife Sarah the most. Trey, you were cool too.
Ask Wonder Wife Sarah if she enjoyed seeing you back, Corey.
Oh man, that was a funny situation there.
Oh man,
yeah. Long story short, we had multiple things going on, but the hotel messed some things up, and we all got clumped in together. It was like 2 queen beds, and so Mom and Dad on one, Trey and Sarah, and then I was on an air mattress in the hotel room because they messed up our reservations or whatever. So
yeah,
and but hey, it was a good time. We enjoyed it together. It was a good time. We were really close up. So yeah. Hopefully Sarah got some Z's because I snore in the middle of the night.
Well, she's definitely been sleeping in today.
She's probably sleeping right now. She's like passed out. Like
she was. Yeah, her and I both were under the weather this morning, just not feeling so hot. So she slept in while I worked. But it's all good in the neighborhood. It was good seeing you, Corey. Corey, who's all in the chat today? It seems like we are popping today.
Yeah, we have a lot of people here. We got ZM. I think that's Zachary.
ZM, hey Trey, I still say they should give Batgirl a chance. Release it into theaters for 3 days and put on some streaming network. That's an interesting thought, ZM.
Dad, yeah, keep going. Dadpool, Taladia plays, Bat Dan's thoughts, hashtag restore the Snyderverse guy, Bat Fanatic, Oracle's Clock Tower, Red Hooded Outlaw, The Butler, Beyond the Night, The Batman Who Laughs, Carrie Kelly. We got Phil Costello's away in the house, The Batman, Super Batmon's here, Mistress of Mayhem. I think I said The Butler, Ryan Swayze, 9 Lives in Hell here.
It's up 9 Lives.
Joker's Wild. Did I say Mistress of Mayhem? Wendy You Are. We got Mikey's son in the house. Bat Fanatic, Wonder Wife, Sarah. I think I may have missed some people. Oracle's Clock Tower. But we laughed so hard. Absolutely. It was a good visit. Global tracking is for about 330 million right now.
But yeah, less than Black Adam. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to run through
we'll do all of our guys. This is a good time to go ahead and share our stream before we get into our spoiler warning. Don't worry, we'll shine the light when we get ready for that moment. But yes, this is going to be our spoiler review. So if you aren't worried about that, then stick around. But if you haven't, I do have a spoiler-free review. If you're not sure about if you want to see The Flash, check out that video. that helps you decide if you want to go see the movie, then come back and watch this video and tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. Replay crew, we love you guys. But let's go ahead and get through all the sweet jazz. Follow us on our social media pages like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at _Bat Channel. It's a good way to chat with us, guys. We're doing some fun stuff on Instagram. We do Q&As every now and then where you guys can actually like chat with us, tell us your thoughts about what's going on, or ask us like Trey, what's your thoughts about this topic that you've never brought up on your show? We've been talking Jurassic Park lately, celebrating the 30th anniversary. We're going to be talking some Indiana Jones soon with the final film coming up. Even comics, like whatever you guys want. It's just a great way to like get to know us, for us to get to know you, and just have. Oh Jesus! I was like, what is going on in my headphones? Corey has the music. Yeah, he's super excited for Indiana Jones. But just a great way to follow us there. But we can also help us out by smashing like, sharing this video, subscribing if you haven't already. We are so close to 2K, and we can't do that without you guys. And how do you do that? You're like, Trey, how do I help you? Well, hit the like, share this video, get your friends into the chat, let them know about the Bat Channel. Let them know that there's these two crazy dudes who just say absolute nonsense about movies, and that they'll do us a lot right there. And then you can also help support our channel with super chats. Super chats go a long way, as the money just basically goes right back into the show with renewing our subscriptions like StreamYard, or upping the game with cameras and all the other cool stuff that makes our show all the more better for you guys. And we always like to say thank you with a funny clip or two. So super chats, thank you guys for that. All right, and then we do have a new YouTube short series, Moments That Change Cinema and Cheerworthy Moments in Cinema. And then Corey, you had a new one that you're working on. Do you want to reveal that yet?
No, you can say it.
I don't even recall what you said it was. It was your idea.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact words of what
oh my god,
what I called it as well. But
I think it was memorable moments.
Memorable moments in entertainment. Yeah, memorable moments in entertainment. That's what it was.
That was okay. I knew it was something like that. So all these cool ideas. Every time we post these video, guys, it's going to be a bit of a challenge for you and a fun challenge. So basically, every time we post something, we want you to retweet it, tag 5 friends, and tell us a moment, or the cheerworthy moment, or the memorable moment in entertainment for you guys. And if you tag those 5 friends and we see it, maybe your pick will come up on the show at some point. So make sure you guys check out those YouTube shorts. It's been really fun making those lately. As always, do what helps the channel grow, because that's why you guys are amazing. And as Super Matt Mom says here, like and share. Just do it. Just do it. All right. What's up, Talati? It's good to see you, brother. Are you guys ready to discuss The Flash?
I know one person who is.
Oh, definitely.
This guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm ready to do.
That's what
right
he's ready to do.
This moment.
In this moment.
Mm.
Okay. The Flash. Guys, I think the first thing we always got to do, because that has to be the focus on any movie, and the goal of what they're trying to do, is talk about the story. The story has to be solid. Obviously, this movie was kind of pulling a lot of its inspiration from the Flashpoint comics. It was very loosely based on Flashpoint. They did have things that we did notice, but from my boy Fresto, what was your thoughts, being a huge Flash fan? How did you feel about the story?
Yeah, this is a good point. Boom. Spoiler warning first.
Yep, spoiler warning logo first. Yep, we'll do that here. Corey?
It's not just a signal. It's a warning.
There we go, Batman. You've been warned.
You've been warned. Go all out, Fresto.
Okay, so I think it was very interesting in my from my point of view, in that they seemed to sort of smash the Flash's 2 origin stories together, kind of. Because of course there's his New 52 origin story that is his mother gets murdered and his father goes to jail for said murder, and that murder is perpetrated by the Reverse Flash. That's his New 52 origin story. His original origin story is mother gets murdered, and as far as I'm aware, that is the furthest it goes. There's no mention of his father, no mention of the Reverse Flash doing it. So it smashed it together in that his mom gets murdered and his dad goes to prison, but there's no trace of the Reverse Flash. So, and that was in my opinion, missed opportunity, because look, that man is a menace, and he deserves the spotlight.
It was me, Barry.
As for it being Flashpoint, I felt that the beats, the plot points were very much the same, in the sense that he goes back in time. The only difference is there's a second Barry in it, because of what happens. But he goes back in time, teams up with an older Batman. Of course, they did Bruce and not Thomas.
Hurtful.
And they go to find a Kryptonian who has been kept out of the sun, Supergirl instead of Superman, and in Russia instead of in America. And they do this because they need their assistance to stop a world-ending threat. In this movie being Zod again, versus the Amazonian Atlantean War. So, all in all, plot points, you can put the connections together that it did follow the general story of Flashpoint, while changing things to be, I don't know, maybe less expensive.
Interesting. What do you mean by that, being less expensive? Like, do you think it was just easier for them to just use some of those plot points to connect it to the DCEU?
Yeah, less cameos. And I say less cameos in that, well, I guess I should say more cameos in that some of the characters appear briefly, whereas if they had followed the exact Flashpoint story, would have had a much more prominent role.
Oh yeah, so like if they had like Captain Atom,
right? But I guess my main point would be, instead of having Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot in the movie for like a scene each, they would have had very prominent roles.
Gotcha. The whole war between the
Atlanteans and the Amazons.
Yeah.
And then of course Shazam. So you would have had to have all the Shazam kids and Zachary Levi in it.
Yeah. It basically a whole nother Justice League movie, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why that movie and that story is Justice League Flashpoint Paradox.
Yeah.
Or that movie is Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. And the story is just Flashpoint. But yeah, so all in all, I enjoyed the film, though I had my issues with it. And I could very clearly see the connections to Flashpoint, which I honestly was not expecting beyond him going back in time to save his mother.
Oh, okay. Out of curiosity, throughout the story, would you say that in terms of editing, was it a smooth storytelling, or did they kind of jump around to where you're like, this is kind of all over the place? I'm not sure about it.
That is a good question. I would say I would say the part between Supergirl leaving and coming back,
that makes me so happy that you said that.
that felt a little iffy, but other than that, I do think the story felt smooth
Okay.
from the end. Aside from the end. There's
Yeah.
what they did at the end with a character that I'm sure we'll get into later felt like it was missed potential. The character had a lot of potential that could have been much better and much more satisfying had it gone the way I thought it was going to go before the reveal.
Okay. It's so funny that I feel like a lot of people are catching on to the same issues. I did think throughout the story, and Corey, actually, I'll let you go next here, because before I go into the details of some of the topics I wanted to go through with the story, but what was your general thoughts of the story, sir? Here we go.
All right. So this is the general thoughts. Okay, there are some really cool concepts in here. The time travel concept to right a wrong was very interesting. How cool is that, to think about, going back in time to try to fix something. So I like that concept. I like that storyline. I thought the concept of the multiverse was explained well, too.
With a bowl of spaghetti?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It resonated with me food-wise. So I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense to me. I get that. And you know what? Even Super Batmom got that as well. She's like, you know what? She actually said to me after the thing, like, I finally understand the coolness of the multiverse. That makes sense to me now. How that bowl of spaghetti changed even Mom's opinion, because she is.
Are you now? I have to ask, because a lot of people have made fun of that bowl of spaghetti scene. Are you being sarcastic with me right now?
No, I'm being legit.
Likes that scene. Now I find that very important and very curious, because she is a general audience person. She does not know what this is going on. So for that to be well explained for her to, as someone who doesn't really understand the multiverse concept, to be able to accept it, that's good that they use that as a moment for those people who don't understand.
Absolutely. And she was like, I can get the appeal to it now, is what she said to me, and like Trevor H said here, the concept of this movie is very emotionally powerful. How many people out there would like to go back and create a wrong? Would you be willing to risk something, a regret that you have, or one last hug, or one last kiss, or to go back in time and to do that, or to fix something in your past, to right a wrong? And that's a story that a lot of people have regrets out there. A lot of people have that moment or thing that they wish that they could change about their life. So it's a very immediately it's a good way to connect to people and everything like that. That said, overall, I feel like I should also mention this. If you like action scenes, this movie is jam-packed with action, tons of action going on. It was a fun movie in that sense. But that said, I have a lot of issues with this movie. And we'll definitely get into that as well, where by the time I hit the end of the movie, I was conflicted, and I had to take literally a day to kind of really soak it all up, collect all my thoughts to now be able to verbalize. There's a reason why I didn't text Trey. I think I may have texted you meh. And you
just said Matt, and I was like, yee.
Yeah, and that was it. So I definitely have, I wrote down some lists and kind of went through my head of everything. And what I realized is I was writing a whole lot more cons, unfortunately, because I really wanted to like this movie. I love the concept, but there's some major issues that I had, and we'll dive deeper in that eventually as well.
Nice. Well, and that's why I love these discussions, because I think the fact that all three of us are going to have this good dialogue of, like, obviously, if you watch my spoiler-free review, I enjoyed the film. I did have issues with it, but there were certain things they did that were important for me as a fan that I felt like they hit it out of the ballpark with. And then there was other things I was saying, like, yeah, if we cut that, if we did this, maybe you would get a 9 film, you know, rather than what I think I give it, like an 8.5, 8.8, something like that. But in terms of the story, like Trevor H said, it's an emotionally powerful story in the first place. You know, as Corey said, you know, who wouldn't want to go back in time to fix a mistake or regret, you know, to change your life for the better, especially one that has caused so much tragedy in his life and his father's life, and to see how tragedy has affected those around him. Superheroes throughout comics have been, their mission is originated from tragedy. Who wants to get nuts?
We're getting nuts today. We are getting nuts.
Did
Little
you
planters.
literally just bring that can of nuts just for this moment?
I always have usually a can of nuts or like
just a
Mhm.
can of nuts. Huh?
Mhm.
Not a sponsor, but if you would like to be, you know.
Planters peanuts. They're delicious.
Presto, you looks like you're about to say something.
It's an emotionally powerful story, yes, and it's great. It hits those beats both at the beginning and the end,
Yeah.
with how
Yes.
how he has to go back and prevent himself or change back what he had changed by putting the tomatoes back on the shelf. That immediately falls flat, in my opinion, when he decides to put it because you see him put it on the middle shelf with all the others, and then he chooses to put it on the top because he wants to change history so that his dad gets out of prison.
In a way, he
Yeah.
doesn't fully learn from his lesson, right?
It's like he learns his lesson. He talks about learning his lesson on the phone with Bruce at the end of the movie, except his actions directly contradict that.
Yeah.
I love what Super Bat Mom says here. The multiverse makes more sense to me now. Time and space and alternate threads of storylines. And then Todd said, mine is not ordering that second cheeseburger.
Okay. So Todd was a one and done. To me, the film would be a masterpiece if the third act was fixed. Release the Muschietti cut. I know there was 3 endings because this film, for those who don't know, this film did go through 3 different leadership changes with, you know, Walter Hamada. So first it was like Toby Emmerich, then it went to Walter Hamada, then from Walter Hamada it went to Jeff Johns now, and Peter Safran. So this film was repurposed quite a bit, and you can feel some of that, absolutely, to fit whatever narrative or future plans this new DCU has. It certainly suffered from that, which is unfortunate. But if this is where I say, for my Snyderverse fans, because I'm a Snyderverse fan, we have to just look at this movie for what it is. Yes, you can connect it, obviously, to the DCU and all that stuff, but just look at this film as The Flash, not with Ray Fisher's not in this film, which will always be a cloud over this film because Ray Fisher deserved to be there, and all the other drama that happened with Ezra and so on and so forth. But if you just look at this film for a piece of art, that's how I'm looking at this as a critic, as a YouTuber content creator. I'm looking at it just as this film. With that being said, what's up?
Yeah, same here then too. Same here as well.
Good. And that's nothing to say that if, those who boycotted this film didn't see it for those reasons, I have nothing against you, like I respect your decision. I get it. Like it's messed up, but Hollywood is just a messed up place in general normally. But Phil coming in with a little positive note here with $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Phil. The way Batfleck spoke about the scars from the past with Barry, not gonna lie, he nailed that scene. It got to me as a person. We talk about letting go of the past. He made me believe it. Man, let's go ahead and get into that, Corey. Let's get into, first, Phil, thank you so much for your $10 super chat. We will talk about the characters in just a moment. I forgot that we're going to talk about the third act in just a second here. But thank you so much. I completely agree. That was one of the biggest highlights for me. As I said in our spoiler-free review, some of the shortest moments in this movie were the best moments. What really took it to the next level. Corey, can you play Phil a little $10 thank you, please?
Yeah, let's play this one.
Stop right there. I'm in.
You are? Just like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Phil. Now, Fresto, as you brought up, the third act. The third act was a bit interesting, where they decided to go with the direction of it and to reveal kind of who the main villain was of this movie, which was the Dark Flash, as they're calling it here. Go ahead. Did I say Jeff Johns and Peter Safran? I mean, James Gunn. Whoops. They're both in that same category for me. Retro Nerd Girl, what's up, girl? Hey, Trey, Corey, and panel guest. Also, hello to friends in the chat. What's up, Retro? Hope you're doing well, girl. Congrats on the 7 years. Sorry we couldn't hang out with you. That was the day we were driving up and stuff like that. It was a bit of a crazy week. I had a wedding that day, but congratulations on your 7-year anniversary on YouTube. That's freaking phenomenal. Well deserved. And guys, go check out Retro Nerd Girl's channel. You're gonna love it.
Congrats, Retro.
Let's go ahead and talk about the third act with the villain, the reveal that the younger Barry was, and this is what I loved about this particular movie, is that Barry, our Barry, the DCU Snyderverse Barry, gets a warning from Bruce, and he says, take it from an old man, don't hold on to this mission that's going to leave you alone. We can't fix these scars. They make us who we are. This wonderful speech that he gives. Todd M says, with all that chaos, the film is a lot better than it should have been. 100% agreed on that. Yeah, with all the craziness that happened, they did the best they could with it. Yes, it could have been better, but I feel like with everything and the time frame they had to keep changing things, I think they did a good job. But the fact that he gets this warning from Bruce saying, just, you have to let it go. And he can't, it's the tragedy is all he is obsessed with, just like Batman is, right? So he goes back in time, stops his mother's death, and it changes everything, right? To the point where there's no superheroes other than Batman in this world. The Zod is coming, destroying the world, looking for Kara Zor-El. There's no Superman. And he's put in this position where he needs help. He needs to get the younger Flash on his side, which, yeah, the timeline of this was a bit interesting, where yes, he does go back in time, and then he comes back to where he thinks is present, but it still is, I think he said 5 years ago, technically, was a 5-year younger Barry.
Think so?
I think it was something like that.
I don't remember the exact. I know the Barry the younger Barry is 18 and is a freshman in college.
Okay. And I love how they handle that, because here you have a younger Barry who's kind of immature, he's taking for granted his mother, coming back, letting her do the laundry, when older Barry, our Barry, who's lived a life without his mom, he would just love to just spend time with her and hug her and hold her forever. It's a different situation because he doesn't understand that. And I love that you can see this younger, immature Barry who has these new powers, hasn't had time to really experience and have a mentor, like someone like Bruce Wayne, to guide him through and to learn and, to absorb all these experiences that help change him to realize really the cost of his power and, what it could do to the multiverse, to where we get this villain, Dark Flash. And it is a really cool concept. It's kind of, I felt like, Fresto, Dark Flash was a villain we've kind of seen before when it comes to the Flash, just in terms of he's a speedster. He kind of, I think a lot of people said that he kind of reminded them of Black Flash, but he wasn't that, right? He was something else. What was your thoughts about Dark Flash?
I have mixed feelings about the character. I liked his first appearance. It was scary. It was menacing. The way he punched our Barry, modern Barry, main Barry out of the Speed Force, and then later showed up in his dreams, when he was unconscious after Supergirl took him into the upper atmosphere to get hit by lightning for the second time. And then I liked, the imagery of the younger Barry slowly turning into him as he fought the Kryptonians, and the pieces of Kryptonian armor got stuck in his suit, and him in some cases, and then it fell flat for me where they had them be. It seemed like it was setting up this Barry to become him, and then the two to confront each other in the final act. But instead, they had the younger Barry stay who he was, and the Dark Flash be a semi-separate character, in that it was just an older version of the younger Barry who has just been doing what he was just doing for a long time. And I like how it was used to explain why he attacked Barry in the opening act, but I feel like that didn't need to be explained. Just having it be a sort of time loop thing, and maybe that's just me, and I can see why it was explained for a general audience, but me as a Flash fan and having an understanding of how these sort of time loops work, didn't need that explanation, and thought it would have been better had it been the two of them and not the three of them. And then the younger Barry turning against his older self far too quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah, they didn't really
give him a moment to sort of, internally contemplate. He's trying to do it because he doesn't want Barry to go back and stop himself from saving his mom. And then all of a sudden, when he sees his older self having struggled to prevent what he was been trying to prevent, he's like, okay, I guess you're wrong then. I give up. Bye-bye.
Yeah. It was definitely an interesting and almost a quick turnaround from this immature Barry who's like, no, we can keep doing this. We can keep going at it. And in a way, I think people can probably empathize with seeing your older self and what you've become, the monster you've become, and realizing, okay, how long has he been at this? And he still hasn't figured it out, to where he could understand this. Clearly there's only one move here, and that's to take yourself out of play. But I would have liked a little more tension. I would have liked, hell, just even a fight sequence with them a bit, to give us a bit of tension rather than just this simple, quick, I know how we handle this. I'm gonna have him kill me, to erase himself from the time loop.
That's also where I got confused, because it's like, at what point did they become, did our Barry and the younger Barry become so separated that the younger Barry dying didn't affect our Barry? At what point did that happen?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Superbro Corey. Well, actually, let me ask you this. Go ahead.
I guess just because we didn't have much time to talk before the show, Trey. I know we kind of did our initial overall thoughts right at the beginning. Are we going to talk about kind of the plot in sequence, or we just going to kind of, because we kind of went straight to Dark Flash?
We're not going to go to scene by scene. I know we've done that in the past, but that would be a 4-hour show, and I don't think we need to do that here.
Okay.
But if you want to quickly brief, and I figured some of the things we're going to talk about are going to be in our pros and cons. But if there's something you want to discuss,
I guess there's a few things that I kind of want to discuss with people. I would say the initial 15 minutes or so of the Flash movie was fantastic. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool seeing Batfleck there. I thought that was I thought I thought Batfleck did a fantastic job. He was rocking it. It was kind of cool to see, Barry help out with the hospital scene and everything like that. And the one thing that I didn't think we really got into, Trey, was the Batfleck speech about the scars from the past, that to me was peak of the film. How just seeing the pain of Barry mentioning, "Hey, I'll go back and save your parents too," and how much he wanted to say yes to that, but knows the greater scar and meaning of it all, that he can't do that, is one of the things that I have always appreciated about Batman's character personally. So like I'm one of those like, oh, hope, let's save everybody that we possibly can. So for Batfleck to just like have that pain in his eyes and everything like that, it was such an emotional portion of that movie, or of the movie for me. Did you want to talk any more about that portion? Do you have any thoughts?
I kind of talked about it in our spoiler-free review, where I was like, that particular scene broke my heart. Like it nailed, it was peak Batman for me, and why I've always thought Ben Affleck was the best combination of Bruce Wayne and Batman, because he was able to play that tragedy of his parents in a way that reminded me of Kevin Conroy's Batman in the animated series. And to kind of see that moment of him where, like, yeah, you're absolutely right. When like Barry's like, I can do this. I can save your parents. And, he's probably thought about it a million times. And I think just the way Ben Affleck kind of does that smirk, and he kind of, you could tell it's like that feeling of like, I wish I could tell you yes. But he's like, I know. Where does it end? Who like, where do we, like, that's selfish for me to just say, go back in time and just save my parents. Go back in time and just save your parents. And that's it. But then it becomes this whole thing. You have to go back and save this person, that person. And what's up, Sky? Thank you, sir. And I think with Batman, it was just that moment of where he's a man, he's been on this mission for over 25 years, just trying to do good. And look what he has done, right? He's united the Justice League at this point, and they've created this team of just helping the world. And when you think about that, Batman knows, and it's just that experience, right? Barry being young, Bruce being older and wiser, saying like, who would I be without being Batman? Like, where would the Justice League have been? He knows. And if you look at it from a standpoint of the Snyderverse, he knows Darkseid is out there somewhere, and that he has to prepare for it. And if he did not exist, if Batman was not needed, then would we be in a worse, not a great place? Would he take over easily without Batman? It's like one of those things, everything happens for a reason to perfectly align to put us in this place of going up against the greater evil. But I loved that scene. It was one of the greatest scenes I've seen with Bruce Wayne.
I completely agree. The whole Zack Snyder Justice League portion of the film was fantastic in my eyes, specifically Batfleck, and that moment right there. That was the best scene in this movie, in my opinion.
Let me ask this real quick though, Corey Fresto, because I want to get his thoughts of being a Flash fan. Like, for me as a Batman fan, that was such a sweet moment. But for you watching that, and we know in the comics the relationship that between Barry and Bruce have, because they are both detectives, they are both people of tragedy, of losing their parents, in slightly different ways. But like, for you watching that as a fan, what did that scene do for you?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I agree with a lot of what you said. The whole, the talk about, how the tragedy that makes the man rise above sort of talk between the two of them. I enjoyed the relationship that Bruce and Barry have had in the DCEU has thrown me off quite a bit just because of the age difference between the two.
Okay.
And how Bruce has taken on more of a mentorish role to Barry, and just how young Barry is in the DCEU has thrown me off. At least compared to the rest of them, has thrown me off.
Let me ask you this: Did you have issues with Iron Man and Spider-Man relationship? Because I know you're kind of a Marvel guy too.
No, I mean, not entirely, but so to me the difference with those two are the fact that Spider-Man and Iron Man have always sort of had that age difference and then when it comes to Flash and Bruce, they've always, at least from what I've seen, have more of a friendship. They've been friends more than mentor-mentee. And so the mentor-mentee relationship between Batman and the Flash, to me, is more reminiscent of his relationship to the Flash in the animated universe from the early 2000s, but that was Wally West, who is younger.
Yeah.
Because that was a post-crisis Barry's dead universe.
Yeah.
Sure.
And this is a fair point that Todd brings up. He says, agree with Affleck as the best Bruce Batman actor, but that scene is poignant because of the stage the character is at when all the other Batman were more year one, still grieving people. And that is a fair point. And they did have another mirroring moment with Michael Keaton's Batman and Barry, where they, in a way, Michael Keaton has a similar speech to Barry that Ben Affleck gave to Barry, you know, which was essentially like, I've done this all my life. I have no idea who I would be without Batman. Basically saying, I am Batman. That's who I am. And one of my favorite moments in the comics is when like Wonder Woman, and they did kind of have a similar scene of this as well. It was more for a comedic moment, which is fine. But like with the with the lasso scene where you know, in the comics, you know, she's like trying to figure out who people are, and like Superman's like, oh, I'm Clark Kent, and then Batman just says Batman because that's who he is. He's not Bruce Wayne, you know, and that's Michael Keaton having that smile when he's stitching himself up now that he's back in action as Batman again. To me, that was perfect. That's who Batman is, right? It's that obsession of who he is as a person, but to also have that moment, it's just like, I wish I could do what you do. You know, I wish I could go back and you actually saved your parents, you know, but now you're still here trying to save this world, you know, and it's just that mentor role that I did enjoy watching, but it is interesting. But Corey, it sounded like you wanted to go into something here.
Yeah, I did want to go into something. So I wanted to make note that I loved the Batfleck portion of this movie, that Zack Snyder canon. It was fantastic. Gal, Wonder Woman, coming in to kind of rescue on the bridge there. It was a cool scene. You know, you got a little bit of a funny moment with her, you know, having the lasso around Batfleck as well. But I immediately got worried once again when we had some Joss Whedon level humor from Flash. I was like, oh shit, you know, like making some junior high, you know, sex joke, you know, again, so in front of Wonder Woman. So it's like, I was like, oh shit, here we go again.
And I did bring that up in my spoiler review. There was a certain joke that they kept like hashing out, and it was like the constant dick jokes throughout the movie. That was kind of like, I wish they would have like, it just kept coming back up where it's like, oh, dick this, dick that. And it was just like, okay, how many times are we going to like talk about dick here? You know, like as a point of a joke. And I was like, let's think of something else. Like, Ezra is a funny person. Like clearly Ezra does a great job with comedic roles. And, you know, the other DCU films that I felt like Ezra could have thought of something, you know, ad-libbed something better than what they did there, you know, but I agree.
So I had
mean,
I
who knows?
yeah, I started to have some issues there. And then I wanted to bring this question as well. Iris West, you know, she mentioned that she thought she saw him a few years ago. I was a little confused by that. I know some people are saying that that's in reference to Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Mhm.
However, she straight up sees Barry Allen before they literally cross paths as they're walking, as he was walking into the pet store and she was walking out. So it was a little confusing to me while she's like, didn't I see you a few years ago? And when, yeah, they for sure saw each other at that point. Am I mistaken there?
Walking past somebody, like why would she be like, oh yeah, you're definitely that dude, you know, like
They were they're college classmates. They knew each other, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
So they should have. She should have remembered. Oh yeah, I saw you a few years ago, right before I almost had that horrible accident. I wonder how I survived that.
She's also a reporter, so she might be she might be just like, being kind of coy with him, sort of like,
exactly.
I saw you a few years ago, didn't I? Sort of like you saved my life. I know that you're the Flash, yada yada yada, but I'm not going to tell you to your face and let you try to dodge the question.
Yeah, the important thing of that scene though is that in the Justice version of Justice League, Iris West is not in that movie. So
Yeah.
the fact that she simply says, "I've seen you before," is referencing what
Didn't I see you?
Well, they're classmates, so I feel like she should have been. Oh yeah, I recognize you from. We did see each other a few years ago. It was right before my accident, so that was a little weird to me. The way it was said, it could have been done a little bit different, in my opinion. To kind of flash forward a little bit, I'm going to also say I enjoyed the scenes of him, interacting with himself, playing, both Barrys. I thought that was really cool. It was awesome for him to.
I
see
thought it
his
was
mom
great
again.
development for the original Barry, because you're seeing him become almost like Bruce, wise
Mhm.
mentor trying to get Barry on the right track. And it's like not exactly what they've dealt with Barry over the years, but like he sees the immaturity and he's just like, why can't you just like focus and understand the gravity of what
Mhm.
we're doing here? And in a way, that's what Bruce was trying to tell Barry, right? Like, just understand, like, your powers can change everything,
I disagree, Batman. They looked at each other and made eye contact walking in and out. If they were classmates, they would have known who each other were. So that part
Well, that's
was a little-
assuming she was like,
like watch the scene, Trey. I literally after the movie, I watched it again last
I
night.
know,
That
I
scene
know. I
specifically.
watched Zack Snyder's Justice League recently, but I'm just saying, like, I think to just assume that they know each other because they're classmates. Did you know every single person in your class?
No, but they had a crush on each other. So
Barry had a crush
He
on
had a
Iris.
crush on her.
Yeah,
She
he
didn't
had
have a crush on him.
He had a crush on her, but she knew about her. Her father. He's been in prison for all of his life, so she knew about that situation, even if from a reporter standpoint. So it was just an awkward kind of situation there to me. That portion didn't make sense,
Okay.
in my opinion.
You could also make the argument that she may be that she didn't like they were college classmates, but you don't really know all your college classmates. But when he saves her in Zack Snyder's Justice League from the truck crash, whatever's happening there, she gets this, I know you from somewhere, and maybe you went back and looked up her college yearbook, her college class, and then started looking into him because she's a reporter. That's what she does.
Yeah, and I'm specifically mentioning the fact that she said, "Didn't I see you a few years ago?" And they did see each other a few years ago,
Yes.
without a doubt. So that
But,
portion
is
was.
she gonna come out and say in public, "Dude, I know who you are. You're the Flash"?
No,
She's
and
not gonna
I
do
don't
that.
expect her to.
It's a
but
little reference. It's not supposed to be.
If you also see, she sees him for a brief second after he saves her as well. So
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're going with this, though.
It was just a weird interaction thing to say. So I had some it felt weird to me.
Okay,
Um,
it felt weird.
Moving on though, let's get to so I said I enjoyed the portion of him getting time with his mother, and then the build up of getting the superpowers and having that issue. Flash forward to Michael Keaton. His entrance in this movie was garbage, bro. Like, I'm a Keaton fan. I love Keaton. It was trash. It was not a like, oh my God, Batman, like Michael Keaton Batman. It was just this broken down man who became nuts Batman. And it was just a weird.
I mean, how's that weird though? I mean, when you think about it, like I said, it goes back to like when Keaton's Bruce smiles because he's stitching himself and he's Batman again. It's that clear sign that Bruce Wayne when his parents die, Bruce Wayne no longer exists. So when Gotham is saved, Gotham is the safest place on earth. What does Batman do? It happens in Batman Beyond. He doesn't know how to live with himself. He basically becomes a hermit and hides at his mansion all day, especially with the loss of Alfred, which you could tell pains him because that was the last person he really knew, so to not have a mission anymore, what else is he going to do? He still doesn't have his parents, and that's the thing about Batman is like, he can do this mission, he can achieve this mission, and still there's an emptiness within him because he has no one.
But I'll throw out there as well, there's the Batman Beyond Batman, which they've like played into the fact that could be potentially a Keaton Batman as well. So to see him like just straight broken from like it wasn't like, oh yeah, Michael Keaton Batman. It was just, oh, here's this Looney Tune and who went nuts in a cabinet. It was not a good first entrance for Michael Keaton. Like, in my opinion, I feel
you wanted
like
something more nostalgic.
Well, I wanted to. How Michael Keaton should have showed up was, they're in the cave looking around and stuff like that, and then he comes up and they're like, "Whoa, who are you?" And it was like, "You're not Batman," or something like that. And then he says the iconic, "I'm Batman." Like like the whole, broken down, I'm nuts now, Michael Keaton Batman didn't really like. Were you excited when you saw him?
I
like
was,
Michael
yeah.
Keaton? Interesting.
Yeah, no, I was excited. I mean, because to me, I knew, as someone who understands Batman and how he is, like, to me, when you look at all the details, there is no Alfred. As far as we can tell, there was no Robin in Tim Burton's Batman. In this particular version of him, there was no Robin, even though there was plans to be. He's just been by himself, and his mission has been achieved. So, like, to me, it made sense for why Bruce is the way he is in that scene.
But Keaton, like, I guess, whether, like, don't get me wrong, I love Batfleck. Batfleck is the best Batman out there. That said, I also really liked Michael Keaton Batman. Michael Keaton's Batman was the Batman that I grew up with. He's the the Batman that I knew before, before Ben Affleck's Batman portrayal of it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, he's the best Batman. So Michael Keaton being, my childhood Batman, to see him just come out broken and just like straight trash was kind of disrespectful to Michael Keaton's Batman. Because think about this. Michael Keaton's Batman is he did a humongous thing for the superhero world. He took and I'm not saying this to be mean to Adam West, but he took a campy, yippee Batman, funny, comic-y Adam West Batman into a Dark Knight portrayal, a person that you should be afraid of in the dark, like that level of Batman that really portrayed a lot and changed the way a lot of superheroes are portrayed in movies today. He was really the first to be that, what Christian Bale's Batman, the Dark Knight, that was him. So for them to straight up kind of make him a Looney Tune in my opinion, of him being, one of the, really top dog Batmans that really boosted the Batman character as a superhero. It was disappointing to see.
What's your thoughts on that, Fresto?
I don't know. I guess I didn't see him as, the crazy out of whack guy that everyone else did. To me, his introduction, he came out swinging. Sure, he had a long beard and long hair, and maybe had that look of the crazy old man. But from the moment he showed up to the moment he started talking, he was all there. I mean, his first conversation was discussing the multiverse, and a really sound explanation of it. He didn't seem, sure, he was maybe a little out of shape because he hadn't been Batman for a while, and I agree with what Trey was saying, in that would definitely do that to Bruce, because Bruce is Batman. Batman is the main persona, and Bruce Wayne is the mask.
Yes.
Yes, but even still, like, to kind of go through with, Batman not, but here's the thing. A lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong, Trey, you said are upset about the spaghetti, seeing that
people thought it was comedic to explain it through spaghetti. I didn't think that. I thought it was what that you thought it was comedic?
No, I completely disagree that it's comedic to explain it through spaghetti. I feel like it was a clever use of the environment to explain it in a way that made it understandable for, say, especially the younger Barry who doesn't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree that was a fantastic explanation.
And if anything, to me, it shows that, like, what I've always kind of thought was an issue with Michael Keaton's Batman back then is that Michael Keaton's Batman, to me, didn't really seem like the hardcore, like, brilliant detective, like the man who's just like, he's an absolute genius, right? Like, he just seemed more of like a brawler, and that Alfred was just there to really assisted him to, like, figure these things out. And to me, I'm not saying, to me, Corey, the intelligence level of Bruce in that particular scene really showcased that, like, yeah, Bruce Wayne is a smart man. Like, him explaining the multiverse in such a way that, like, someone as, immature as young Barry could understand it, and the general audience,
I disagree. Like, another thing that I'm thinking of is, okay, you're saying that nobody needs him as Batman anymore, so he's kind of faded away. But here's an opportunity to come back as Batman. They clearly need his help, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go eat a bowl of cereal in another room and just kind of watch what they're doing down there. Okay, here. Even Todd said, agree with Corey, losing your purpose is not the same as giving up as a person in your pajamas all day waiting in the trash. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I mean, I can hear where you're saying with that, but
maybe it's because I'm older than you guys, and maybe it's because I'm older than a lot of people in the chat here, because clearly I'm agreeing with Todd. I see Super Bat Mom and Dadpool kind of agreeing with me. The older people who know who Michael Keaton's Batman was, I feel like it wasn't that. And I'm just gonna say it wasn't that Tobey Maguire entrance in No Way Home.
Okay, when you explain it like that, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So issue there for sure. He had some, and then because look what you said, Trey. You said in the pre-review that Michael Keaton's Batman had a Batfleck warehouse level, just underneath level of a fight scene. That was Keaton right there. That was the Keaton that we should have saw right right from the get go,
Well,
ready
in a
to
way,
rock.
it was better Keaton too, because we never saw Keaton back in '89 or '91 do that type of fight scene.
Now,
Before,
mind you, the movie genre was a little different back there.
True.
This was the first time you saw Michael Keaton.
But when you think about it, this
bashing
is
people.
a 60, 70-year-old Batman whooping ass, like
yeah, Trey, before they used to put a pow over your punch, like this is they didn't go all out on the Batman, first series. It was a huge step towards that direction. Michael Keaton is a game changer in the superhero genre as far as Batman's character goes, and they disrespected the man from the get-go.
I don't know. But see, I think saying disrespect is like a harsh word to say, like just because he didn't quite have the entrance that you wanted. But like when you think about it, Keaton was a badass throughout this
He
film.
was. He gained himself back. But when we hit the end, I'm going to have some complaints there about how things went down with Michael Keaton towards the end as well.
Yeah, part of that was the third act that people were.
Yeah, third act junk,
Going back, the Integrity says, just saw The Flash a third time, going back a fourth time soon. The film has flaws, but it's getting way too much hate. It deserves much more success. It's currently a 7.3 on IMDb. Good for third best DCEU. Oh, I didn't realize it was 7 point. Really? Third best for DCU? That's interesting. I'm surprised by that. The problem is a lot of people wanted to hate the movie. I think there was a lot of
There was that. And
from several avenues.
Yeah,
there was that. And I'm going to tell you right from the get-go right now, I'm not one of those. This is a concept of a movie that I wanted to love. And it fell short many, many ways for me. And we'll kind of continue on.
Okay.
Kal-El showing up. Do we want to talk about that real quick or anything like that? Do you have any?
It was an interesting switcheroo for, when the comics were Superman and they did Supergirl here. I like Sasha Calle. Well,
yeah.
I feel like now do we want to start talking about actors' performances or do you still want to go through story? My only issue with Sasha Calle's story was literally and Fresto brought it up earlier, was the fact that she left, saw the fight, the attack from the Kryptonians and the humans fighting. General Zod sees her and he does nothing. And she runs back to go get Barry to electrocute himself to become the Flash again. To me, that was like that editing was one of the most irritating parts of that movie. That like Sarah even saw me go like, what? Like why wouldn't they just start? And not only that, when you think about it, for her to fly there, then fly back, the US really had that much military against the Kryptonians who were just going to wipe the floor with them to last a couple of hours.
And to dive deeper into that, when she flew to where that desert scene was, where they are supposed to turn over Superman, he's not there, of course. Who was the general out there talking to Zod?
It would have been, we never saw, but it would have been Swanwick.
Yeah. And who is Swanwick?
So Martian Manhunter, but that's assuming that was Martian Manhunter there. With the time.
Do you think it's Martian Manhunter?
No, because if it was, he would have put up a fight.
Would he? I'm curious what the chat thinks. Do you think that was Martian Manhunter that just got straight up destroyed by Zod right there?
It's an interesting thought. I don't think it was, simply because at that time there was no Superman. Martian Manhunter would have had to make the decision to fight for humanity or bug out.
I
go back to Mars.
I would say whether it was Martian Manhunter or not, they didn't do a good enough job to show that it wasn't him. They showed a faraway scene of what we recall from Man of Steel, showing that that's where Martian Manhunter was, wearing the helmet and everything like that. And,
once again, that's assuming that everything stayed the same, which we know when Barry goes back in time, not everything stayed the same.
So they should have had a different character or a woman in that role or somebody completely different, where there is no doubt in your mind that they didn't straight up murk Martian Manhunter.
I think when you assume that it's supposed to be that person, I think that's like your own personal fault. If they don't show you who that person is, then we can assume that it isn't General Swanwick.
Not necessarily.
It's too big of a character not to show him if that is him, you know. So it's,
Right.
I think you
Yeah,
just
you don't
assume
for a character like that. You don't say here's a faraway shot with no showing of the face. If the fact that there was no close up or like it was that whole scene was shown through Supergirl looking from far away and not perspective of up close and personal. That to me made it clear that it was not Martian Manhunter.
Sure, you could say that. I'd be willing to say that they didn't make it clear enough.
Well, to me, it's like, then why is Lois Lane not there? Technically, in Man of Steel, she was there. Like, once again, you can't put those assumptions.
But why would
into
Lois
that
Lane
scene.
be there? What would be the reason being for
Why?
Lois
Why
Lane
would
being there?
General Swanwick be there?
Lois
Corey?
Lane was there because she knew who Superman was.
Okay, so why would
she
General
arrested
Swanwick be
Lo-
there?
Because he's the general.
There's no
that's what
other
I'm saying.
generals in the army.
That's
Right.
But if you go, if
Right,
Martian
but why was he
Manhunter-
the general?
what changed where he
We-
wouldn't be the general?
I guess I don't exactly know all of his motivations from the past movies, but I know that past versions of Martian Manhunter have come to Earth for Clark because of Superman.
Mm.
And the one I'm thinking of is the one from Smallville. Granted, because that version of Martian Manhunter, the one in Smallville, was on Earth to watch over Clark, and so without a clear motivation for his reasons of being on Earth in the DCEU as it stands currently, then it's, in my opinion, easy to say that he just wasn't there.
I agree. Like, to me, it's
Yes.
like it's just a character that even Andy Muschietti would know not to, like, if it's General Swanwick, he's gonna show that General Zod just tore apart General Swanwick and killed
Mhm.
Martian Manhunter. For the very fact that he doesn't show him there tells me that it's not General Swanwick, and it's just a general.
Why is
It's
General
just a
Zod
military
there?
man. What's that?
Why is General Zod there?
Well, I mean, he's just the big bad in this. But when you look at it, the timeline of General Zod didn't happen the same way either.
No, there were some differences, but he was still looking for, an implied, kryptonite, which obviously layers on, becomes Kara-El. But I think if you go back and look at that person who General Zod killed, I think you'd be like, that may be a character that looks a little too close to.
You from the back, it looked a lot like General Swanwick.
Well,
You've been checking out General
You
Swanwick?
can tell it was a man about his height. He was the only one that approached. So, like, there are some key connections that they could have made that would have helped, without a doubt, make sure, for you to know that wasn't necessarily who it was, in my opinion.
I think your assumption is your own fault.
Okay, we could say it is like.
What are you gonna say, Presto?
What made it? I mean, I might have to see the film again. I might not be clearly remembering this, but they showed the back, but you saw the skin of the general, and I'm pretty sure the general that walked up to Zod was Caucasian.
No, I don't think so, but we could check that
But
out.
I'd have to rewatch that.
Yeah,
I'd have
don't
to
think
rewatch it,
was.
but to me, it's such a
Pretty sure he
nitpicky
was.
detail that it's like.
But even still, kind of continuing on with that point, like Ro McMillan said, maybe I missed something, but did she even know that Barry was supposed to have powers and the plan to get his powers back? Like, that whole sequence of her going away was very, very confusing to me.
I think we all agree. on
Yeah,
that.
we all agree on that.
Yeah,
And why did she come back? So it was just like poor storytelling, poor
it was
writing.
bad editing right there. Like that.
Yeah,
That
no, yeah,
story.
that.
Mhm. It was poor storytelling, poor writing. Absolutely.
I saw someone talking about that and how her motivation for wanting to fight Zod in the movie was that, she saw Zod kill a bunch of people. Where, based on the conversation she had with the younger Barry on the roof,
Yeah.
would have felt better if she had gone off to and seen the good in humanity rather than the evil in Kryptonians.
Exactly. Sasha Calle's Supergirl was and it wasn't her performance. It was the writing for her character that failed her.
Right.
Like she was actually really cool, and I thought she was a great Supergirl and had a lot of potential. But how they writ her script, her story, they dropped the ball on. And partly I feel like it was a 2 hour, what was a 2 hour 10-minute film, 2 hour 20-minute film.
Let's look this up.
And it's a Flash film, which I will say I was surprised by that. With all the controversy that was surrounding Ezra, I was expecting them to try not to put the focus and make it more of a Batman film. And this movie was very much a Flash movie.
2 hours, 24 minutes is
2
the
hours,
runtime.
Thank you, sir. Much
That would
appreciated.
have been interesting if it was General Lane.
Oh yeah, that could have been.
I mean, that's an easy explanation.
Yeah.
I think when you get into the mixing and matching of story timelines, I think it's important to be clear, especially when you're repeating history or repeating.
But then again, it's not a
storylines.
repeat. You got to remember, it's not exactly a repeat.
It's not exactly a repeat, but when you're doing so, as far as writing goes, you need to be, you need, especially when you're walking that fine line, you need to be careful about writing that, like making sure, like, oh, if you see a major character, if you see a person die, and the last time I saw a scene like that, I'm going to assume, okay, that must have been that person there anyways. So that's why I think you need to be careful with how you walk around the continuity behind it all.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. I think you're wrong, but I hear what you're saying. See, yeah, that's the thing though, too. Well, I guess like I keep seeing the word continuity. You have to remember it's not really continuity because we're not seeing a playback of events. We're seeing think of it as in like Back to the Future, how yes, there may be a timeline that mirrors what's going on in this one, but we're on a separate thing, a whole new world it's not Ben Affleck's Batman, it's Michael Keaton's Batman, which means it was Tim Burton's timeline, right? That somehow converged with some events that happen in our OG Barry's timeline with Man of Steel, but it's not exactly the same event. It's a different event that's just happening on a different timeline. It's not,
especially with how it goes back. It even goes back to Krypton before it explodes, and how Jor-El takes the Codex and puts it in Kara rather than Kal-El, and how Kal-El doesn't make it to Earth and is actually intercepted by Zod's crew, which I need to go back because and watch Man of Steel, I guess, because that part already shows a completely different continuity and via my understanding, because I could have sworn didn't like Zod and his crew get like imprisoned somewhere.
They get imprisoned in the Phantom Zone, but when Krypton explodes, they somehow their prison, like the energy causes them to escape
Right,
from the explosion.
They don't go drifting for all of those years, right? They reemerge closer to present day.
No. So they General Zod does age. You can tell that because of his beard. Like he does start to whiten a little bit, and they travel to different outposts for Kryptonians and try to find any survivors or yeah.
Okay, so I am confusing what happened in Man of Steel with what generally happens with a General Zod story. Got it.
Yeah. But yeah, so there, in terms of continuity does not matter here because
it doesn't. It doesn't. But I think it makes the writing better if you make a more clear difference. So maybe the location should have changed then too, Trey, rather than being in the same deserty area as Man of Steel.
It doesn't need to. I mean, it's once again, themes can mirror each other, but they are not exactly the same. Yeah.
It-
But
it
anyways,
gets
let's go
confusing.
to a new
Yep.
topic because this one's, I don't think we're
I'll
going to
go for
agree
it.
on it.
Nope. Yeah,
What?
let's go into the third act.
Okay, yeah, third act.
Start to move into third act.
Okay, so third act, with all the fight scenes, we get into the time loop of, everyone's dying. And I hear what Super Bat Mom is talking about here. Like, I get it. She doesn't like to see her heroes die. She likes Hallmark movies. I love you, Mom. But in the Flashpoint comics, what happens is because of Barry screwing up the timelines, it kind of creates everyone dies, which kind of forces his hand to have to say, if I don't, it's basically the universe slapping him in the face saying, like, if you don't go back and change what you tried to change and put it
Prevent
back,
yourself from changing what you changed.
yeah, like then everyone is affected by this. It's forcing his hand. Like he can't change it for the better, why? What's Corey, you're shaking your head. Why?
I don't like this portion either. I had some major issues. Like the fight scenes were awesome. This was a fantastic scene, and I was digging every bit of this. Michael Keaton doing his thing. Going around, helping out, being an active member, seeing both Barrys go around fighting, everything like that. Seeing a Supergirl kick some ass. Like this was a fun scene. But what happens? We see one death. Okay, they go back. They see a second death. They go back. And then by then, Barry, the original Barry Allen Flash, he gives up. He's basically done. He 2 tries, two college efforts.
It's him
and then
learning
he's
his
done,
lesson.
It's him learning his lesson, and 2, the conversation he has with Michael Keaton's Batman the second time around. He has that tender moment where Michael Keaton says, "Don't worry about me. You can't save me. You're not supposed to save me." That makes our Barry realize that this is a lost cause.
Yes.
And that if he really wants to save the world, he needs to prevent himself from saving his mom.
After 2 tries and all the hell that we went through in this movie, we're giving up after 2 tries.
It's okay. So our Barry is not giving up after 2 tries. He's giving up after the conversation he has with Batfleck. Meanwhile, younger Barry,
which was
not
the second
giving
try
up after 2 tries.
Which was the second try.
Right, but it's not 2 tries. I'm done. It's I've had this deep moment with this person that I care about and look up to that makes me realize that I was wrong.
Then maybe he doesn't really care about Batman then either. So he just let him die like that.
It has nothing to do with that, though, Corey. I think like you're taking of like what you think of how superhero films have to have a happy ending, and this film in a way does, but like it doesn't. Nonetheless, Corey, like you have to realize it's that moment of him realizing that it's literally Batfleck's speech to Barry. These scars make us who we are, and you are not broken, Barry. It's literally that, him realizing I'm not broken. I've literally become the man who I am. And while the death of my mom will always haunt me, kind of thing, like this, if I try to change this, this is this destruction I cause. So I have to go back and fix it. I have to go back and reset it back together. It's not gonna end. And like we talked about early in the Flashpoint comics, Thomas Wayne dies. Superman is close to dying. Well, I think he does die from the nuclear blast.
Superman dies. Thomas Wayne doesn't.
Thomas Wayne doesn't?
I mean, everyone dies to the explosion as Barry is running away. But
you're talking about the Rebirth when they did the whole
Rebirth.
So there is that, but
he doesn't die prior to that explosion and Barry running back.
Yeah.
I just feel like it ended up being a wasted a scene, right away with how quickly he gave up, even with the speech, from Michael Keaton's Batman. Supergirl is still out there getting rocked, out of respect towards your other Barry Allen, who's, gave it a few more college efforts to save, Supergirl.
Well, once again, it's experience over.
But he straight
youngness.
up, he was letting himself constantly go back by himself. Like you would let yourself
in a way,
go back.
does he not realize that this Barry needs to experience it and realize that it's just not going to change? Like
I think
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. This was that situation. The only way this Barry's going to learn is by seeing that it's not going to work.
And he only learns that lesson after he sees his older self having been at it.
I think he could have been
for years.
I think he could have been more supportive of himself. He did not care. He was out. He saw the other don't get me wrong. In the end, it was the right decision. But like how quickly it went from, literally two.
So you would have wanted to see the scene 5 more times.
I would have wanted
you could have accepted saying, okay, Barry can give up now.
Absolutely.
So you wanted to just waste some runtime of like adding minutes to this movie of seeing the same thing happening over and over again.
I think you needed more scenarios of, okay, we've exhausted all the options, that we can't make this work, that I'm going to have to go back in time and let my mom die.
I think, but see, he learns that by watching himself, his younger self, try, and
he
failing,
could have,
because it's him. He's seen himself inside because it's literally Barry. And it's his moment of seeing also Dark Flash and this Barry of who he's about to become, and it still has not worked. So therefore, he has to let go. And in the best way, he sees the part of him, younger Barry, die by sacrificing himself, because younger Barry has also decided that there's only one solution to this.
This is the first time that he sees this battle going on. He's, you would think, a becoming a developed, okay, maybe then what my issue is maybe Flash is not that great of a superhero, because he and I'm going to throw it out there, he doesn't, whenever he's told what to do. Maybe that's the thing. He's told what to do every single time in order to make a mission successful or not. Go save some people. Barry, make sure you run in, help me get these mother boxes apart. Maybe he needs that level of guidance, and he's not a tactician, because I feel like if you're trying to lead the charge, he was trying to lead the charge of this. He allowed the battle plan to see it. Like he could have even taken us, like if they know they could run back, they could have like stepped back on the outside and watch it all go down. Okay, this guy's going to go over here, that guy's going to go over there, and kind of made a battle plan. Bro, there was no battle plan. Like from the tactical side of me, the tactical side of the brain, even you as Batman, you would better believe Batman would have been back there. Okay, if I could go back in time, I'm going to watch how this plays out and see if I can come up with a way that we can make this possible.
But see, do you realize that there was no way that Batman would have won this?
Exactly.
Literally, this Batman had no kryptonite.
But
there was
didn't show
quite a bit of Kryptonians, and even Batman putting the fight that he did against the tall Kryptonian, he still did not win that fight. So even Batman being the greatest tactician and having the speedsters with him and a Supergirl, it was a fight that they were just not going to win.
Mm-hmm. And I think they could have done better of showing.
Imagine an army of Supermen. You were not going to win that battle.
Yes, I get that. But you also had Kara-El out there. I feel like things could have been like, hey, yo, let's run it back in time real quick. Hey, this is what's going to happen down. At least give us some more effort. Give us some more effort from Barry Allen. Not just like, oh shit, Batman died again, and we're pretty much out for the count. I would have liked to seen a little bit more effort, a little bit more tactical planning, a little bit more, okay, let's see how this battle goes out. Let's see if there are any weaknesses, are any points that we could do. Hell, freaking Barry Allen knows that kryptonite affects them. There's things that
But as far as we know, like if you talk about timelines and continuity, the Man of Steel event with the terraforming is what creates kryptonite, which means kryptonite has not been developed yet fully.
No, but it could be on the planet.
And Barry's just supposed to search all over the world while everyone's
but
dying.
he could have done a YouTube search. He could have kind of
YouTube search.
I'm joking. What Batman
Guys,
does,
here's for everyone in the chat right now. This is for you.
So shut up, bitch.
Corey, you have lost it.
No,
man.
it was like, it just shows how, like, I think it just shows how garbage. Like, could you imagine if Batman was there, Batfleck? If Batfleck was there, do you think he would have gave up that easy after 2 tries?
I think the fact that he knows that if he goes back and prevents his mom from dying, or prevents himself from saving his mom, fixes stuff, and saves the people that he's already trying to save, and him making that sacrifice, I think yes, he does. Because the conversation that the conversation, like I'm coming back to it again, the conversation that he has with Michael Keaton's Batman after he loses to the bigger Kryptonian, when he dies the second or third or whatever go around, is a mirror of the conversation he has with Batfleck at the beginning of the movie. The scars make us who we are.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change the past. You have to live with it.
And if that's the case, that should have been enough right there. But he
and
clearly,
it was.
But no, we're talking about Batfleck's speech. He still went back in time to try to change things. So he still tested if he can make it work. I just feel like, he didn't.
Everything he did, literally throughout his entire process, there are just signs everywhere telling him why he's wrong. And it's a cautionary tale, really, of Flash's power. This is what this movie is to tell you that
the Flashpoint story has always been.
I'm okay with that becoming the final, I'm okay with how he comes up with it. I just feel like it wasn't like we went through about an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours worth of a movie just to give up in 2 tries. Like it was bothersome to me. Like there was no really tactical, superhero-y shit there. He wasn't. And again, maybe it's just, Flash is not a leader. I don't know. Maybe Flash isn't the leader, the tactician that Batfleck is, that all these other heroes that can manhandle certain situations.
That's Batman literally is the tactician, which is why Barry says he searches for him.
Yeah, that's why he looks for Batman, because Batman's that tactician, because he's not the tactician, because he's young. He's inexperienced. He's only had his powers since the start of Man of Steel.
But on the flip side, he can go back in time. You he has a hell of a lot of power there in that sense. He could have. I would have liked to seen some more effort. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
That's always been the crux of the Flash's character, is having the power to go back in time, doing it, learning it's a bad idea, and living with the fact that he could if he wanted to, but can't.
And in a way, that's what makes Flash a superhero. It's not so much. It's kind of like what Cyborg's dad says to him in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Your superpower is not going to, the biggest challenge you're going to be dealing with is not doing it, not doing your power, not giving into it. And imagine it's just like Superman, right? The restraint that Superman has had all his life to not let go all out of his power. And Flash is the same way. If Flash wanted to, he would kill everybody,
I guess what I'm trying to get to, what this is all trying to get to, is I expect more out of Flash. As far as this movie goes, and Mom brings it up here, what is the big win of this movie? What happened? What was the big win from this movie? What was the cheer-worthy moment of this movie at the end?
The cheerworthy moment is that at least his power gave him the ability to get something he didn't get before, which was to say goodbye to his mom.
That's it. That's all that the cheerworthy is for.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
Corey, like it's sorry, go ahead, Fresto.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying yes. It's the idea that it needs to have some big win final, hip hip hooray movie is it's like saying that, like, we all, at least I think most of us, agree that Justice League Flashpoint Paradox is a fantastic film.
It's one of the greatest animated,
one of the greatest animated films of all time.
Yeah,
has the exact same outcome. The exact same. It ends in a way that he doesn't go back in time to try and stop the atomic bomb from going off. He goes back in time and stops himself from saving his mom. That is the lesson of Flashpoint in a story, which is what this movie was trying to accomplish.
I guess here's what I remember. Zack Snyder's Justice League, Barry Allen was crucial in saving the world. He played a huge role. The Oscar gave him a cheer-worthy moment during the Speed Force Flash run back scene.
Yeah.
It was a cheer-worthy, clap-worthy moment. And all we got in this superhero movie was he got to say goodbye to his mom. That's the best.
How would you have it end, Corey? What cheer-worthy moment would it have sufficed for you?
I would have liked. I'm not entirely sure, but I would have liked to see some win. I would have liked to seen like something a little bit bigger, because you think about, like, okay, so he changes the camera angle. He said, like don't get me wrong, that scene with his mom in the grocery store brought tears to my eyes. It was a beautiful scene, but like it frustrated me that that's the that's the most that we did for his mom. And then, okay, we're going to try to change one thing by, angling the camera down, which I thought was like, okay, so he still quite hasn't, you guys told me he learned his lesson, still quite hasn't learned his lesson. And immediately,
he didn't angle the camera down. It was,
well,
he didn't. He put the
tomato
on
whatever.
the top shelf. And that was what I was saying earlier, was he learned his lesson. He talks about learning his lessons, yet
he didn't.
His actions say that he didn't.
Exactly.
And
so that's where I'm confused.
Essentially, he said, if I don't change the past, but I could change, he made a calculation of how he could change the future.
But look what happened. Look what happened. Look who showed up as Batman. Even Barry was like, "Oh fuck, it's this guy." He looked like he wasn't excited to see Batman.
Well, it's just because he knows that he, still screwed up in a way.
Does he fix it?
I don't know. I mean, will we ever find out? Maybe.
Yeah.
For the record, I'm just busting balls. Oh my god, integrity. But yeah, for people in the chat, I know Corey's he's being very controversial probably right now, but
I wanted to love this movie, and there's aspects that I absolutely love of this movie. Absolutely love. The beginning portion with Batfleck, loved that.
Yeah.
I didn't like how they disrespected some of the characters. I didn't like how Flash gives up too early and still says that he figured out, I can't make changes, but still makes changes, and clearly is still making, timeline continuum, mistakes throughout it all. So is he going to go back in time and put the can back now?
Probably
maybe
not.
Probably not.
Probably not based on the box office. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tim Sock says he was probably at Walmart. They had a sale on Yellow Kitty. Oh my god!
And don't get me started on Aquaman. Don't get me started on Aquaman.
Oh, that.
Yeah,
to me, the post-credit scene was unfortunate.
Yeah, but see, that's the part that sucks. Is James Gunn, when he said the DCU, he got rid of the original post-credit.
Which was, I believe, If I
Ben
remember
Affleck
correctly,
was
I heard
supposed to be
someone- yeah.
lost in time, basically in the
lost
nightmare.
in the nightmare world, and he was supposed to like contact Barry to ask him to come find him, mirroring that scene
that
from
moment in
Batman vs
BVS,
Superman,
which would have been a way better ending. And
post-credit scene.
oh yeah, post credit, and even the ending, the second ending, when Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi were talking about having Henry Cavill, Sasha Calle there at the end at the courthouse. That would have been a better ending than what we got personally.
Absolutely.
Was it
But-
cool to
but-
see George Clooney? Sure, because I think he should. George Clooney. I feel bad for all the hate he gets for the bat nipples,
Bro,
but nonetheless,
Clooney showed up like an ass and immediately was perceived as an ass from Flash himself. Even Flash was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
well,
He-
I
he-
will
he
tell
was
you that
Audi 5000
my
on that guy.
audience at the sold out theater showing I went to, they all clapped when they saw George Clooney. So I thought that was nice.
I just wonder if this means George Clooney is going to be the Batman we see in Brave and the Bold.
There was rumors about that, and I hope not. But it was great seeing George.
But yeah, I'll say it real quick. Aquaman, the disrespect behind Aquaman, it pissed me off so much. I think that is maybe why I left the movie theater with like a what the kind of vibe going there, because literally we see Aquaman and he's Barry's telling the story. Aquaman is trashed like an ass, just a drunk asshole, and he falls in the puddle of water, making him look super bad, and we're back to this fuck a fish type humor again, right back in
shit,
right back into that.
Well, it's not looking good because the test screenings lately for Aquaman 2 apparently have been dirt trash. But anyways, to get back on track with the Flash here, let's talk about the cast real quick.
Boom.
We'll kind of go through each person real quick. Ezra, Fresto, how did you feel as being a big Flash fan? How do you like Ezra's performance for Barry?
I loved it. I think Ezra did a fantastic job as Barry in this film, both as the main Barry and as his younger, more annoying and childish self. And even in the when it came to the conflict between the two, not at the end of the movie, but in like sort of the midpoint where he's before not even at the midpoint, but before Michael Keaton comes in to help them, when Barry just finally loses his temper with the younger Barry over his treatment of a stuffed animal, I thought was phenomenal. So yeah, just performance wise, I thought Ezra did fantastically.
I completely agree with you. I saw I saw Todd's comment and I couldn't help but laugh, but maybe it was just Charlton Heston. Hey man, Charlton Heston's GOAT, controversial. Corey, you're killing it. Corey.
So I'm not trying to be an ass about the Flash.
You're being honest, and that's what I want. I want you to be honest. And you brought up some very great points. Anyone who denies that, is
Sickness says, I think I understand where Corey's coming from. Zach kind of spoiled us with a glimpse of Barry's dopeness. Yes, absolutely. And the Flash didn't exactly fulfill that expectation from Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's where, in some ways, they nerfed the Flash. That's the best way to say it. They nerfed Flash. We saw Zack Snyder's Justice League Flash do freaking amazing shit, and now in the Flash, it was nerfed. And now
I don't think it was nerfed.
I don't think
it was nerfed.
The man was bodying Kryptonian after Kryptonian. He was not nerfed.
As far as the awesomeness that he does, it wasn't fantastic.
I think it could have been shown
running back in time.
Better, but
there was some good stuff. I'm not going to lie. Ezra Miller, I'll say right now, as far as casting goes, he did a fantastic job as Flash. Now, as the character portrayal of Flash, he's a good Flash. He did a fantastic job playing with himself as far as kind of a supporting actor as well. So, lead role and supporting. I thought that was a great kind of go back and forth with each other. Super enjoyed that. I think what it comes down to is the story screwed Ezra Miller's Flash. And I'll go deeper into that here shortly when we get to our pros and cons.
Ezra, for me, perfect. Ezra did a phenomenal job playing an older, mature Barry and a younger Barry, and Ezra's performance was truly a highlight. And I would love to see Ezra do more Flash. Absolutely. Michael Keaton's Batman, Presto.
I'm not as connected to Michael Keaton's Flash as I guess Corey is, because I did not grow up with Michael Keaton's Batman. I've seen the film once or twice. I think I've seen Batman Forever more than I've seen the original one. I enjoyed Michael Keaton's performance. I enjoyed the fact that he came out swinging. I enjoyed his explanation of the multiverse. I enjoyed how I enjoyed his fight scenes, especially the one at the end where he's fighting the big Kryptonian. I enjoyed how, despite the fact that he doesn't know Barry, but understands Barry's relationship with the Batman and Barry's timeline, he sort of immediately takes up this mentorship role that he understands that Barry is used to. I think Keaton did great.
Yeah. Corey, thoughts on Keaton?
I love Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton. I was, I knew that we were going to get Michael Keaton in this story, and I was looking forward to seeing Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was Michael Keaton. The scenes that I enjoyed, I really loved of the fighting scenes of Michael Keaton. His end speech, I did appreciate and enjoyed how it mirrored Batfleck's speech to him. The story is what kind of messed him up. Like I didn't like seeing Keaton broken and being down in the beginning. They should have fixed that.
Me personally, I was okay with the broken down Michael Keaton because clearly they were kind of setting up the kind of Batman Beyond Bruce, which that's what Batman Beyond Bruce is, broken down and still kind of looking at the world in a dark way, waiting for things to go bad again. And when I see Michael Keaton smile when he's stitching himself up, obsession with Batman, the addiction to Batman, Michael Keaton, it was wonderful to see him. He had a kick-ass fight scene. He's badass. He's badass Batman. It was wonderful to see him. I wish they didn't use every nostalgic line in the book. Like when they did the whole, how much does she weigh? Like, I was like, come on now.
And let's get nuts again. I was like, oh God.
Hey, let's get nuts. Jesus. Corey, pull up the slide again. How did you guys feel about my boy, Ben Affleck, Batman? Presto.
I enjoyed his performance. No, I think he did fantastically. And I guess this is going back into more of the writing, which I'm sorry I'm doing a lot of with these
very good
acting reviews, but that I felt that the joke at the beginning when he got the lasso of truth around his hand was great. The first line, and like when he said my ego is too big to thank someone, would have been a fantastic joke if it had just ended there. But then they had this whole, this persona is something that I use to compensate for the loss of my parents that I haven't fully gotten over yet. And then the sex joke made that joke feel overused. But other than that, he did great. His, flying around the highway while connected to the truck was well choreographed. And of course, the delivery of that speech that he gave to Barry about not changing the past and how the scars make them who they are, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah. Super Bro, your thoughts?
Michael Keaton as Batman or Ben Affleck as Batman is what you're asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Here, Trey.
Yep.
This movie with Batfleck was amazing. This was the only glimpse of goodness in this movie, in my opinion. Seeing Batfleck back, classic Batfleck, beautiful Bruce Wayne, amazing Batman. It was phenomenal. And to see just how awesome he was, how the whole scene that he was in was absolutely amazing. It was my favorite part of the movie. My favorite part of the movie was the very beginning. How amazing Ben Affleck was as Batman, and he's an old guy as well. He was an old guy as well. I think the only thing that the story did, good on was Ben Affleck's Batman. I hope and pray that this is not the end or the last time that we'll see Batfleck. That is Ben Affleck as Batman. Because it's what, maybe Ben Affleck was so damn good in this movie is why I expected Flash to be at ZSJL, if not improved on that level. Because that was that's years ago as well for Barry as well, when the ZSJL events took place. So, seeing how awesome and amazing, peak Batfleck was in this movie, he outshined Ezra Miller, in my opinion, of being the baddest superhero in this movie.
And yeah, I mean, it's Ben Affleck.
Didn't you say, Trey, Ben Affleck said, real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Didn't you say Ben Affleck said that he nailed this freaking role?
Yeah, he said
Batman?
He finally figured out how to play the role, which I would have said he figured out back in Batman v Superman. But he nailed it. Yeah, man. Like that, the speech. I will say the only thing that I hated about Ben Affleck's Batman in this, the suit was god awful. It was that chest plate thing looked weird on him. I hated the way the cowl sat on his cape. That is nitpicking at it, but like in terms of performance, Ben Affleck is freaking Batman for me. Like he was absolutely like one of the best parts. And I do agree with you, Fresto, that people were laughing really hard during the lasso scene to where I really couldn't hear everything that was said. But from what I was able to make out, I was like, okay, it's going a little bit too far. To me, it would have been better if like Falcone's kid next to Batman looked up to him and like used this opportunity to be like, who are you? And him be like, I'm Batman, to kind of like play off the comics, and just to play more into what his speech was going to be to Barry a little later on. But I agree. There was a few moments that were a little too jokey for me, but I love Wonder Bat.
Mm-hmm.
I love Wonder Bat. When I see them together, when I see them looking at each other, I'm like, oh, I know they have chemistry. They want to be together.
And
but
Barry Allen's stupid ass joke there. I was like, oh God, here we go with those fish level jokes again.
Yeah, like I said, too many dick jokes.
It didn't need that.
It just makes Flash a joke.
It made me. It pained me on the inside.
Yeah, a little cringeworthy.
It takes away from the Flash, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It was like, come on, you didn't need to do my boy like that.
Agreed on that. I'm okay when the lasso is somewhat used as like comedy in a way, not too much. Like I said, there's a tasteful moment. Like it's even used in like one of Jay Oliva's Justice League War. Is it Justice League War? Is that the one I'm thinking of? The first one that was the new 52 films, Ben.
Justice League War, yes.
Yeah, where she lassos, she's like, this is not your truth. And she wraps a dude in, the lasso who's protesting her. And he's just like, sometimes I dress up like Wonder Woman, to make me feel powerful.
Yeah.
And she's like,
powerful.
There you go.
Makes me feel powerful too.
I'm actually, I like what Sin Havoc said here. Like, Trey, you didn't like the suit. Like, look at that. I loved the suit, dude. That was Just
I
a
didn't mind
badass
the
suit.
gray and blue, but I did not like the chest plate. I thought it looked
Oh,
funny
really?
on him.
Oh, to
Yeah,
me,
and I didn't like how the cowl sat on top of his
Mm.
cape. Like it didn't. It looked funny to me. Like to this day, I will still say nothing beats the BVS Batman suit.
for sure. But when I see this suit, I love it, dude. This looks like a tactical Batman. Like he's about
But
to
see,
clear
to me,
some
it's like
roles.
it didn't look as
Rooms.
good as the tactical suit that they used in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I would have preferred that tactical
Well,
suit
of
over
course,
this one.
of course. But
You know,
one thing that you've kind of always seen is every movie they kind of upgrade the suit. Now, were there better
and
suits?
to me,
in-
it was not an upgrade. So here's where I say, was it an upgrade, Corey? Which
No.
suit do you prefer, Zack Snyder's
It's
Justice
not
League?
an upgrade, but they maybe I shouldn't have said upgrade. I should have said they always change the suit. That's always going to happen.
Well, yeah, I get that. So, but for me, it was they still have not beaten the BVS suit so far.
No, no.
But Sasha Kaye, Supergirl, Presto.
I say she killed it. She did a fantastic job with the character, given the material she was working with. And that is what I will say for that.
Supergirl. Short, sweet,
Yeah.
simple. I love it.
Sasha Calle did a fantastic job portraying that that role for what she was able to do. The story and the writing screwed her. It was made her so with what she had to work with, she did a fantastic job. That said, the story just straight up ruined her character. It probably wasn't a good place to introduce her in this Flash movie, in my opinion. But once again, that kind of goes back to the way WB kind of screwed everything up. It seemed kind of thrown in there, jumbled up, and she did what she could. She was super awesome to see. I would have loved to see more of her and get to know her character a little bit more, but she did a fantastic job. I would love to see her in more Supergirl. The way they kept killing her over and over again was so freaking annoying to me. The writing was horrible for her.
The way she kept dying did also confuse me. Was what about Zod's little stabby thing made it able to penetrate her Kryptonian skin? I don't get the lore there. I don't get why it was able to do that.
So I think just like Kryptonian tech and material is like able to hurt other Kryptonians. Like we saw that in Man of Steel, like when Henry Cavill Superman first goes on the Kryptonian ship and there's that little drone when he tries to activate with the key, it attacks him and he actually bleeds for like the first time on his arm. So we know other Kryptonian tech can hurt Kryptonians. So my guess is, and General Zod probably would have that, type of material that could hurt other Kryptonians and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's simply it. And another guess is she probably wasn't. I mean, this was the first time she's been out in sunlight. I don't think she's fully
Charged
up to her regeneration and her full peak powers, so she's kind of weak. So yeah, that's just me giving excuses. But I agree, Sasha Calle, wonderful performance. I wish she had more. I think this film in a way could have utilized an extra 10-15 minutes of just like maybe given her some shining moments, like other than that one editing scene where she goes to the battlefield and then leaves, which made no sense.
She needed
Another
better
big
character
issue.
development.
Yeah, another big issue I had was when she finally learns what happened to Kal-El and what General Zod did. I hated that they cut away from her at that moment and they went to the Flash and then they did this whole like rock music, like, oh, here, let's go. When it should have been this angry, tragic moment for Sasha Calle to really just explode and go ham on General Zod rather than cut away from her,
Interesting, Trey. It sounds like you would have enjoyed seeing some additional points of views of the battlefield as it was going down, maybe not just two runs of it.
It wasn't just 2 runs.
That's
It was
not-
technically.
I'm going back to
It's
that.
not
I'm going back
It's
to
not
that.
the same.
It's
It's
not-
just
It is.
not the
same.
It is, because that is a perfect point
That's
on
the
how
same
they
point.
could have added more to that scene. How they could have added more to that scene by including that.
If
Right,
anything,
but that
it
would have been before they went back in time for the first time to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
He wanted that at the beginning, not
Mhm.
as a throwback in the middle of the battle.
They should have
Yeah.
gone back to the beginning.
That's
Jesus.
Mhm.
Anyways, good God, Corey. Michael Shannon, General Zod. I know exactly what we're all going to say here, but I just wanted to say it because it should be said. Fresto, your thoughts on Michael Shannon, General Zod return?
I honestly I don't know what to say here. I feel like he didn't get enough time to really act for me to form an opinion on it. It was sort of, what I assume was just reused footage from Man of Steel when he, did his little speech to the world.
It looked like they redid that because I think he was originally wearing the mask.
Okay.
When
They
he
did
did
redo that
speech.
because
the way it looks, I can never tell.
They did redo it because even the jumbleness of it was more clear in this,
Yeah.
this
Okay.
form.
What little I saw of him, I mean, I didn't dislike. I think he did good.
Yeah.
Corey,
is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to say, Corey?
Yeah, I would love to talk about Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon is the freaking man. He is such a badass actor. He is the perfect Zod. I repeat, the perfect Zod. So fantastic. His character development in Man of Steel was amazing. And that's why they wanted him back in this movie. And what did they do? They wasted him. Wasted his opportunity. They didn't go into him deeper enough. Why he came back. The character development wasn't there for Zod. It was just a quick, oh, we killed the baby, and then they went into a fight scene that we didn't get to see the rest of. Michael Shannon got screwed with horrible writing. He did a fantastic job at playing Zod, but they wasted his opportunity completely. Absolutely wasted. I was so looking forward to Michael Shannon being back as Zod. I love his character. I love seeing him. I was looking forward to that controversial feel again of having Zod there. Of, is he kind of right? Is he kind of wrong? And we didn't get any of that. It was just right back. Wasted storytelling for Michael Shannon. I'm sad about him. Message to Mayhem loves the Super Bowl loves Zod. Yes, I love that villain in Man of Steel. He is amazing. You can't disagree that he is amazing in Man of Steel. He is the best Zod out there in any of the Superman movies, and they straight up wasted the opportunity, as I'm seeing so many of you saying, completely wasted Zod's potential in this film.
Yeah, all I'll say about Michael Shannon and Zod, we all know now what he meant when he said, in an interview where they were like, "Oh, promote the Flash now," and he was like, "I'm there. I'm just a problem." I really enjoyed my time with Man of Steel.
Yeah.
He was just there to be a familiar face, a familiar problem that connects it to the DCU for the Flash to go, "Oh shit, I know who that is, and I know what he's capable of." Yeah. That's all he was there to do. There was nothing really
he was there to be the world-ending threat.
Yeah. That the audience recognizes. And
all right, I love what Deadpool says here because I completely agree. This is a movie in which these great actors will never, never, never refer to as their greatest work. The only thing that was great in here was Batfleck. And there was one lasso scene that I'd remove from it. But that was the only great thing.
Which is why he said it was some of his greatest work as Batman. Okay. Kiersey Clemens, Iris West. Thoughts? Fresto.
What's up, Koj, by the way?
I liked it. I thought it was... I I enjoyed it. I
I know there's not a lot to say. She wasn't in it.
yeah,
a
she
ton.
wasn't really in it a lot. But I enjoyed her performance.
Did you feel the chemistry between her and Barry?
Yes, I would say I did feel I felt the chemistry between Barry and Iris in this. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I liked her. I mean, I'm just glad Kiersey Clemens is back. You know, when she returned in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that amazing scene that we saw her in, and to see her still continue as Iris West in this, whoever made sure that happened, kudos to them. Whether it's Ezra really pushing for her to get the role back, I'm glad she got it because I think she will be a phenomenal Iris West, and I do love the chemistry between them. And I think they've created an interesting dynamic for them for a future film as they build their relationship. Super Bro, your thoughts?
It was great to see her, reprise her role as Iris West. It was fantastic to see. I think she plays a really great Iris West. So I was super excited to see her more in this movie. And there were some scenes where she, like TJ said, she may not have been needed, but I still enjoyed it because, she finally made the big screen. So I appreciated, getting as much Iris West as we possibly could. But the biggest thing that I loved about Iris West's character is that in multiple universes, they are attracted to each other. It gives you that true love, that one soulmate in multiple universes vibes, which I really appreciated. To see how excited Barry was to see younger Barry said, we're about to have a date with Iris West, and then he's like, shit, now I have to turn you into the Flash. And then to kind of see them have that, that they're like soulmates in multiple universes was cool. Once again, it was fun seeing her back. She was screwed by writing.
Yeah. Is there anyone else you guys want to talk about? The only people I would also bring up is Barry's mom and Henry Allen. I know it was a recasting for Henry Allen. I thought he still did a good job. Yeah, it was Billy Cudrup in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I guess I didn't even notice.
Yeah, but he did a great job, the recasting guy. But the mom, obviously, did she know how to pull your heartstrings?
Yeah.
I loved the chemistry between her and Barry, and soul of the movie right there, without question. Mm-hmm. Corey, let's go on to the next thing. So I know someone just brought up the cameos.
All I have to say, big fucking spider.
Oh man. A lot of the cameos were spoiled for me way before. So all of them that I saw, none of it was surprising. There is one thing I do want to bring up with you guys, because I've seen a lot of people talk about how the cameos were disrespectful with some of the older actors and some of them who are no longer with us. Fresto, what's your thoughts on that?
That is that's a discussion about it feels weird in that we have this, it's a weird balance between, we have this technology to bring beloved actors back from the dead, for lack of a better term, to appear in movies, whether it be in a speaking role or just as a visual role through the power of deepfake AI technology.
Yeah.
But it also feels wrong in a way that because it's always been this, you do it, but you have to like with Mark Hamill in Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, and I believe he actually played the body of Luke Skywalker in those.
Yeah.
But I guess a better explanation would be with what Disney's doing with James Earl Jones's voice and how they got how he is physically done being Darth Vader, and they got him to record a bunch of words and sounds that they can use AI to stitch together so that he can continue to be the voice of Darth Vader till the end of time. They have his permission for that. You can't ask a dead person's permission. And that's where it feels wrong to me.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that's happening.
Yeah. Super Bro Corey, your thoughts?
Man, the cameos. Cameos are supposed to get you excited, right? Supposed to get you, oh yeah, Superman. Oh yeah, this and that, and like excited. I understand what they're trying to say. I can't remember if it was the director who said it, but somebody said that the CGI is distorted because they want to give it the Flash perspective of it all.
Andy Muschietti said that, which sounded like a cop-out.
It sounded, and it is a cop-out, because I tell you what, they were showing cameos of people and it was so quick that it didn't do it justice. The cameos were horrible. They were either too quick or too CGI, and you're like, who the hell is that? It's supposed, like Todd said, the cameos were supposed to be fan service, but ended up not being fan service in some ways. Don't get me wrong. Seeing.
I was gonna say, which particular cameo felt like it wasn't fan service?
I would say a lot of the Batmans. That they had tons of Batmans in there, and that was there was a small clip on the side. There was George Reeves. There was Adam West, it was such a quick thing that you really didn't get a good glimpse of it. And with it being all distorted, you're like, what? I want to see that, I want to see more of that, and boom, it's gone before you can really see what happened there. You got a good look of my boy Soups, but you didn't get the Soups that I wanted to see in there, there's that. There was if you're not up to date on comics and comic movies, the portion of I just spaced his name.
Christopher Reeve?
Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage, Superman.
From Superman Lives?
Yeah, most people don't.
Movie that never happened.
Yes, and most people don't know that. So people are like, where the hell is Nicolas Cage there? So it immediately takes you out of it. You're like, what? Obviously we knew, but mom and dad were like, why the hell is Nicolas Cage there? These portions were not meaningful. It wasn't impactful. It wasn't No Way Home level of cameos coming in. It was just we're going to throw everything at you at once. And it ended up being, in my opinion, kind of disrespectful. A little bit of, like Dad said here, which is kind of funny, bringing back George and Christopher was sinful. I can see how people are upset about that. Did I think that it was kind of cool to see Christopher Reeves as Superman? Sure, but the CGI was so damn horrible that it became sinful. I was like, man, it should have been actual footage of Superman. You know what would have been hilarious? Okay, this is the cameo of Superman, Christopher Reeves Superman that they should have shown. You ready? It's him actually showing this Flash how to go back in time and save somebody. You fly around that freaking movie and you save the girl. That's how you do it, bucko. Damn. That's the damn flashback that they should have done.
Oh my God, dude, if that would have happened, everyone would have just got up out of the theater and left.
Yeah.
They didn't even need to do Christopher Reeve's Superman, because that Superman, same Superman, different actor, exists in the wider DC multiverse as Brandon Routh. He sorry for lack of a better term, replaced Christopher Reeves as Superman for Superman Returns, which was the same Superman.
Yes.
and then reprised that role as the same Superman in the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, and we know he's still out there because of how that ended.
Yeah.
And so they could have just used him again, but instead they decided to use this, CGI technology to bring back this person, this beloved actor, this beloved Superman that maybe a lot more people would generally know. But just felt disrespectful.
Interesting.
Not to the character, but to the actor.
Yeah. I'm conflicted about the cameos because I can understand, like, if they didn't get permission from the families, like in Star Wars, they got permission from Carrie Fisher's family. Mark Hamill obviously was involved, so they got his permission. There was a lot of moments where people got certain permissions to get those characters, and obviously because they're dead, we don't know if they got the family's permissions.
Right.
But there's also a side of me that says, yes, it was fan service. And in a way, Christopher Reeve has said this himself, is that when he put on the S and the cape, he was no longer Christopher Reeves. Forever, he was immortalized as Superman, and kids would look at him as Superman. So in a way, his likeness as Superman doesn't exactly belong to him anymore, because he is instilled in everyone's memory as one of the shining examples of who Superman is truly as a person, which is why he came back in Smallville. I understand at the same time, it's a little messed up, but I'm conflicted on, because like I said, fan service, there's a lot of people, there's an older generation out there that looks at Christopher Reeve and says, that's Superman.
But look at what people have said in there. There's ways that they could have put a poster up and put respect that way, or maybe
would it have been better if they just reused old footage?
You could, only if you show how to go back in time and save the world.
Like
that's the only one I would have allowed. But Brandon wasn't there. He could have been.
My question was,
Linda Carter wasn't there. There was things that
they could have done more. Absolutely.
And like Kojay said, honestly, CW did it all very well from what he's hearing here.
What is Fresta saying?
There were two cameos that I like. Who are you? Was the who was the Supergirl that showed up next to Christopher Reeves?
There was a Supergirl movie that came out. She was technically in Christopher Reeves' universe. Okay. It was, I think it was a TV movie. That's
who I thought it was.
Yeah,
because I thought I had heard somewhere that super, because I knew about that movie. I just didn't remember
her
being in the
she
same.
Actually came back and body doubled that character, so they could. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard.
And also, who was that Jay Garrick?
No one knows. Even the gentleman who played C. Garrick in CW was like
you could tell that it was Jay Garrick, but that actor was foreign to me. When John Wesley Ships was right there, he played Jay Garrick in the CW. He played Barry Allen in the 90s and in the CW.
Supposedly they did use his likeness. I'm not sure if that, I couldn't tell.
It was so close. It would have been a fantastic, cameo if it was John Wesley Ships.
Yeah. There was I will put it this way. They did better in terms of multiverse cameos than Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. But when you think about all the people they left out, they really focused the cameos on Batman and Superman, really, when you think about it. Yeah. So there was no Linda Carter. There was no, previous, the original Flash. I'm totally spacing his name. Wesley Garrett. But the actor
John Wesley Ships.
John Wesley Ship. They could have even had oh crap, Corey, I'm forgetting his name. Tom Welling, as Superman show up. Yeah. And they could have done
CW
so much
did it
more.
better in some ways.
This was the Jay Garrick from CW season 2. Was it what's his name? He wasn't, because he wasn't Jay Garrick. He was Hunter Solomon taking on the identity of Jay Garrick.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, Super Batman killing it. Cook him. There you go, Corey. Alternate cheer-worthy ending. Chris Reeves Superman flies backward and saves Flash's mom.
That's not how it works, Mom. That's not how it works.
Hey, they were colliding, big fella. They were colliding.
Oh my God. So it's. Yeah, and there was Andy Muschietti had a cameo. I'm surprised they didn't use Christian Bale at all, for being such an iconic, Batman. But then again, they, like you said, they already had so many Batman, so many Superman. They could have gone more, but they kind of just selected a few, and there you go. That's all you got. Take it for what it is. It was fan service. That's really what it was all about. Corey, let's go to our does anyone else have anything to say about DC cameos?
I can't speak to whether or not that actually was the same the actor from Flash for season 2, the one that played Hunter Zolomon.
Oh yeah.
But my best guess is, because I didn't recognize him, my best guess is that they picked this actor because they plan on using that actor to be Jay Garrick later in a future movie. Maybe they're a Justice Society movie and they want Jay Garrick around.
That'd be dope. I'd be down for that.
I love that scene integrity. I love that scene.
I don't know. People are actually hating on that scene. That sounds
people hate that scene. I love it
because it's a power Superman never really had that they just and technically
Superman's
physically impossible.
Badass. That's what it is.
Anyways, Corey, let's go to our next slide.
Yes,
so I think we're talking about 3 pros, 3 cons now, right? In this.
Yeah, he's kind of holding up 3 fingers, isn't he?
I guess you could look at it like that. Jesus, thank you, Corey. 3 pros, 3 cons. Fresto, give us some.
Okay. Before I do that, 3 pros, 3 cons of what?
The Flash movie.
Okay. Like my 3 favorite moments and my 3 least favorite moments. Is that what we're talking about?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's confusing me. Okay, so 3 favorite moments. What? Let's start with the 3 least favorite moments.
I like it.
So that we can end on a high note. Bottom of the barrel. Too many dick jokes.
Yes.
Too many dick jokes. It was not the lasso of truth scene at the beginning was almost so good. It was almost funny. It was almost actually funny. And then they just kept going with it. They took it too far. Number two, I would say how they handle Supergirl's character development. Felt cut and dry. Not much there. It needed more time to simmer. Number 3 was how they handled Dark Flash at the end. I think it would have been better to watch our younger Barry slowly turn into it the more times he comes back into the Speed Force and leaves again. Slowly turn into the Dark Flash rather than it being a semi-separate character. Now, there are a few other things, but those were my 3 biggest. Well, okay, I wouldn't say those were my 3 biggest gripes. I guess I forgot about this one. The CGI was terrible. It was especially the CGI for the various coliseums that they did to represent the multiverse in various timelines was god awful. It looked like, honestly, it looked like a poorly rendered video game. Especially with the standard of video games that we have today and how good those can look. These looked like video game characters from several years ago. Good parts about the movie, so let's end on a high note here, was 1, how well, in my opinion, it went beat for beat with Flashpoint without being a direct rip, which is what I know we were all hoping for. But considering, they kind of want to, they never really want to do it. The issues with doing a live action Flashpoint movie, how well it followed that story. It followed that story much better than I thought it was going to. I thought its only connection to Flashpoint was going to be him going back to save his mom.
Yeah.
Two was I guess I would say, you know, Batfleck's performance, and mainly the conversation that he has with Barry at the beginning when Barry first tells him about his ability to time travel. You know, it pulls at your heartstrings, makes you truly understand the tragedy and the connection between the two characters and why they have such a, you know, tight-knit bond, and like why, you know, how Barry tells the Keaton's Batman how Batman in his timeline is his best friend. It really solidifies that connection, and I guess sort of leading off of the heartstring pulling. Sorry, I'm going into like 4 for each of these.
No, you're good.
The heartstring pulling was the scenes with Barry's mom, and mostly that last one where he talks to her, where he gets the chance to talk to her. He's like, I'm visiting my mom. I'm out of town. Good kid with that, you know, puts her hand on his face, and he's like, he slows down time. He speeds up so that he gets to, you know, enjoy that for a long time before he goes and he grabs the tomato can. And my final one is Barry's character development throughout the story. I felt was great, from the guy who was worried about getting to work on time, running low on calories, to the guy who and the guy who figures out he can do it, gets told he shouldn't, in a very convincing way, does it anyway, and understanding why it's wrong, the lessons that he learned. I felt Barry's character development throughout this story was phenomenal. And those are, I guess, my 4 and 4.
Nice. No, you said everything that I pretty much agree with. Super Bro, 3 cons, 3 pros. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Brace yourselves.
Oh boy. I'm going to start with pros because as I was writing these down, there was a whole lot less pros than there were cons. You know, as far as time travel concept, that was really cool. Righting it wrong was a fantastic idea for a story plot. I liked that. The concept of the multiverse I felt was neat, and it did, you know, I did like how it was explained with the spaghetti reference. The Batfleck speech, the moments of the two Barry Allens playing with each other, and the moments with the mom were all very touching, endearing, and an emotional jerker. So loved those points. Going into the cons. Right. There was the story I wasn't a fan of. The execution of the story wasn't good, in my opinion, at all. There's no big wins. There's no escape of the bullshit that we live through in life. And if you want to call the small win of being able to say one more thing to their mom, you know, and that's it, all we get. And maybe, you know, we kind of helped out our dad if we, you know, continue to stay in that track is, you know, was bullshit to me. The disrespect to the characters, the gal joke, the sex jokes, the dick jokes, that was all bringing me back to Joss and James Gunny bullshit. The broken Keaton in the beginning of his character, the no Henry Cavill. Well, small portion of Henry Cavill, but it's not really, you know, really him. Didn't really matter. Kara dying numerous times didn't do her character justice at all. For the first time, you know, a lot of people were seeing her. Cameos weren't exciting. Clooney shows up at, you know, that's kind of cool, but he, you know, immediately kind of has, you know, becomes an ass of it because Flash was like, oh, you know, like his just, you know, reaction to him was, you know, oh, you know. So like they ruined the Clooney appearance. Flash giving up after 2 tries still bothers me. Not seeing that. I'm used to seeing Zack Snyder's Justice League level Flash, and I didn't really see him in that, other than him being able to Speed Force run and go back in time and different things like that. That like there he kind of showed me, like he went from being an active, good member of the Justice League to this movie knocked him down to just being he's just another person on the Justice League. I kind of made fun of, Batman for the longest time of being the person who just writes the check. I clearly see where Batman's usefulness is in the Justice League when seeing how bad Flash is, after, seeing how, just a horrible of a hero that he kind of is, So no, and don't get me wrong, I love Flash and Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't think his peakness was captivated in the Flash movie itself. His high level of being an awesome superhero wasn't portrayed in this movie. Then the straight up disrespect to Aquaman in the end, the drunk ass hole that he was, pissed me off. It reminded me back of it was literally a flashback right to the scene in Peacemaker, where when they make the stupid ass joke there. So it left me, at the end of the movie, just sitting there like, what the heck, like I wasn't thrilled about anything, like there are some moments that I really loved and I enjoyed, but there was no cheer-worthy moments in my eyes. It wasn't that superhero, big, huge Speed Force save. It was kind of overall just high-speed action that didn't really have any big outcome or big save. It was kind of bland and boring and conflicting there in that portion. And I think the biggest issue with it comes down to, there wasn't that cheer-worthy moment. And there, in a lot of ways, this movie was in production for 5 years, if not longer. It felt slapped together in kind of, the worst way. It definitely seemed like it cut corners in CGI, in character building and storytelling, and it seemed like they had so many ideas of going so many different ways for so long that by the time they, well, fuck it, we have so many different alternate endings, we have so many different things, let's just scramble up these eggs, put them together, and release something, because we're not going to be able to put anything out in the next few years, and that's as good as we're going to get. And that's where, in my opinion, there were Zack Snyder characters. There's some Zack Snyder's canon in this opportunity, but they didn't respect the characters as I felt they should have, especially the way Zack Snyder had, portrayed them. And maybe that's just because Zack Snyder's a better storyteller than Andrew. Maybe it's because there's too many hands in the pot, too many, I think Kojay said, chefs, trying to cook the outcome of the meal. And it became literally that, piece of shit, spaghetti meal that was just thrown together by Michael Keaton, even though I loved that reference. So it wasn't I get the Flashverse has conflicting and different things, a lot of things going on. It just wasn't portrayed the way I had hoped and the way I had expected for this movie that I wanted from this movie, if that makes sense. I wanted this movie to be great. I wanted this movie to be fantastic. And if you want to throw in the other side of things of what Warner Brothers did and different things, we can definitely talk about that. But when I first went in there, I tried to go in there, easy-minded and with hope for this movie. And I got it at the beginning. Batfleck was awesome, seeing him kick ass. And, the rest of the film was just bland and to me, like it I'm going to say Spider-Man No Way Home was a million times better. They capitalized on those wow moments. They capitalized on those saves. They capitalized on so many great things of the movie that the Flash didn't.
Okay, so here's what I gotta say. You say Spider-Man No Way Home was a better film. Did Spider-Man No Way Home end on a happy note?
It did in a lot of ways.
Really?
Wow. So see, I'm okay with the final story of how it had to end. That said, they still beat the main villain of the movie, and they defeated him. Yes, he has to go into a.
They defeated the villain in this movie.
By
Unless if you look
away,
at it as Barry is the villain.
By
Which
running,
in Flashpoint,
kind of,
he is the villain.
Yeah, by running away is basically.
I mean, that's the
how they
story of
escaped.
Flashpoint. That's
Yeah,
like
that's
Reverse
literally
Flash's main, thing is like, oh, you doing this? Who's the villain now?
I'm just
sort
saying
of
we
thing.
went from Zack Snyder's Justice League cheerworthy moment of the Speed Force to, no real cheerworthy moments. There was some emotional moments that they definitely did a great job capitalizing on, but the rest of it was just bland to me.
Got it.
Sorry.
I disagree with you on a lot of it, Corey, but I've already said a lot of my disagreements with you. I just think we're just not going to agree on this movie.
Mhm.
My three cons, definitely CGI. CGI was atrocious. Some of the story elements of like Supergirl, they definitely let her down on this. She was a wonderful character and performance by Sasha Calle, but they just script and story elements that they gave her were lackluster. And then my other con would probably be I don't like what they did with the ending in terms of George Clooney showing up. Yes, it was cool to see him again. As a Batman fan, I know he gets a lot of hate. I partly give him that hate, even though I know it wasn't his fault for the bat nipples. but that film is a bit nostalgic for me, Batman and Robin, because I grew up watching that movie. I get what they were trying to go for, but if I would have gotten rid of that post-credit scene with Aquaman, that had no business of being there. Some of the dick jokes easily, that was middle school grade jokes that, okay, one and done, I'm good, I don't need to hear it again. But when they kept like rehashing a different type of dick joke every 20 minutes, I was kind of like, this is getting old. Let's move on here. So that's really my three cons: CGI, the usage of Supergirl, and the endings and the dick jokes. In terms of pros, the relationships throughout this movie, Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton's Batman, with Barry, I thought they nailed it. I felt like the speech that Ben Affleck especially gave was so Batman that it was perfect for me.
It was great.
The performances, I think every actor did a wonderful job with what they were given, and I think a lot of them nailed it. I think Sasha Calle even nailed what she was given. Even though it wasn't perfect, she nailed it. Ezra was phenomenal in both roles, just absolutely did a great job portraying two different people who come at odds. I loved the performance of the mom. The mom was wonderful. The other pro, I would probably say, I thought some of the action scenes were cool. I did like, I did like how closely they did Flashpoint. Would have I preferred more and seen Thomas Wayne and Cyborg and the Atlanteans and the Amazonians fight? Yes. Like if I would have gotten a live action Flashpoint, Paradox film that Jay Oliva did with my Snyderverse characters, and Thomas Wayne being Jeffrey Dean Morgan, then I would have been the happiest guy in the entire world. But I'm surprised, just like Fresto was, that we got something as close as we did, because they'll never do it straight out of the book. That's just not Hollywood. So that's the three pros for me. Absolutely. Corey, let's go ahead and discuss now ratings. Let's go ahead, because I think we talked about CGI, how bad it was. We don't need to dive any deeper in it. let's go ahead and talk about ratings. So we know 0 out of 10, 10 being the best. Fresto, what would you give this film?
That is a tough one. I would rate it. I'd give it like an 8.9 out of 10.
8.9?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I did not expect you to go as high as that, but that makes me happy to hear. 8.9. Okay, sweet. I was curious because I think when I was watching Morbius with you, you were like 8.8 on that one or 8.7. I want to say it was like a mid.
I don't remember. I think I would, if I were to rank it again now, having simmered on that for a while, I think I'd lower that.
Okay, that's fair.
But when it comes to me and how I rate movies, I tend to rate movies based on my experience watching the film. I don't tend to look super deeply into the acting, the music, the writing, the choreography. Did I have a good time at the theater?
Yes.
If that answer is a yes, I rate it higher. If that answer was a no, it's lower. It's not difficult to get me to go that high.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you should go into the movie wanting to enjoy it. If you're going in wanting to hate it, then why are you spending the $10 to $20 anyways? You know. So okay, 8.9. I dig that. That's cool. Super bro. I'm
gonna let you go first.
No. I think you should end on a higher score because I'm pretty sure yours is gonna be low.
Yeah. No. So again, for those who like it, I am so happy that you gave it an 8.9, Ben.
Yes.
That makes me so happy. I am glad that you enjoyed this movie. I'm glad I'm seeing people's scores out there right now, and I'm super glad to see that they enjoyed this movie as well. And by no means do I want my rating to alter whether or not somebody goes to see it, because you should make your own opinions. I think it is worth the see. Absolutely. I just wanted more. I was left. And maybe it's my lack of knowledge of Flash. I'll be fair and throw that into the mix of things. I've always been a Superman guy, and I like Batman. Those are the two I really focus on. And I loved seeing but that's what I loved about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League opened my eyes to other big characters. I never watched the Justice League cartoons that Trey watched, so I didn't see how awesome these other characters were. So when I saw Zack, the Joss Whedon cut, I would joke around with Trey that I liked that because Superman was so OP in that. It was him just kicking ass, him saving the day. And storytelling wise, I enjoyed being able to make fun of Trey and show that Superman is the best. Storytelling, it was unappeasing to me. Zack Snyder's Justice League comes in, and boom, what do we get? We show how important Superman is. We show how important Batman is. We show how important Wonder Woman is. We show how important Cyborg is, how important Aquaman is, and Badass Aquaman is, and more importantly, we see how awesome Flash is. I didn't when I saw Joss Whedon's Flash, I was like, oh yeah, that's a shitty Flash. That's like he's a joke. They're making fun of him. He's a joke. Like he's a joke of a character. When I saw Zack Snyder's Justice League, I was like, holy cow, that Speed Force scene was amazing, and I absolutely loved that. And I was expecting that level of hype in this movie. And maybe by doing that, maybe my thoughts were too high of it. Trey gave me a review score of 8.8, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna really freaking like this. And what ended up happening was, it just blandness to me. There are some things that I really liked of it, and some things that I really hated with it. I gave, how we score movies. A 5 is a C-rated movie in our opinion. It's one that you should go see. But when I look back at the movie, the the cons outweigh the goods for me. I gave the Batman a 4.5. This is better than the Batman, so I'm going to give it a 4.9.
You gave the Batman a 4.5?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that low. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
This is still better.
You're saying 4.9, not even worth seeing in theaters?
No, I'm not sure for myself, if I would tell myself, and this is not me telling other people.
If you could run back in time in the Flash and stop me from watching this movie.
And stop me from watching this movie in theaters, I probably would. Because the CGI wasn't worth it. I could have gotten that on my little TV out there. It was, there were the story, like the things I didn't like about the story was bothersome. There's the best part of the movie, in my opinion, was the first 15 minutes of it. I loved everything about that. Batfleck, minus some of the stupid dick jokes, but I loved Batfleck. He was a freaking key in it. He's my favorite part. That's why in a Flash review, I have my Batfleck there. That was the best part. So unfortunately, again, if you loved it out there, I think you should go see it. I want you to go see it. I don't want to take away anything about your viewings and your themes. It's just my opinion. I didn't, and there are some things that I didn't enjoy in it. And again, it could be my, not knowing naiveness of the Flash character or superhero as himself. But, I've seen Superman go back in time and save people. I've seen other things happen. So I wish I feel bad again, because this movie could have been great. It could have been amazing. And too many chefs in the kitchen, too many hands in the pot, and they jumbled this up, and there wasn't really a clear direction in which way things should go. And by the end of the movie, it left me conflicted and frustrated more than it left me happy. And I wanted to end on a good note with this movie because I want this movie to be successful. I want Zack Snyder's Justice League characters to be successful. I don't want to see a bad movie, so for me, that's where I'm conflicted, and the only reason I'm giving it that low of a score. Who knows? Maybe in time it may raise, but when it comes down to some of the other movies like Man of Steel being a 10, Zack Snyder's Justice League being that high, that was nowhere near in the ballpark, and that's where I have to go.
No, I hear you.
I see you. I do find it interesting, your point about the too many cooks in the kitchen, too many hands in the pot thing. And I say I agree with you on that point, but that's also what will naturally happen when a project like this has been in planning and production for at this point nearly a decade. Because this movie, the Flash as a movie was announced by Warner Brothers, not necessarily the one that we got, but a Flash movie was announced by Warner Brothers before the Flash TV show was announced.
They had talked about doing one in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's
right, but like this specific project in their DCEU has been a thing longer than the CW's Flash show.
And you had this much time to get it right and look at the CGI and look at all the.
You also have to remember they went through 3 different leadership teams who also had different ideas of how this film was getting be used in their.
It got written and then rewritten and then
exactly. And that's why
like 5 different directors.
Yes.
It's
FUBAR. It's FUBAR. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Okay. So my score initially was 8.8, and that was from my initial viewing of it. I would still say it's within the 8 range for me.
Really?
Corey's kind of killing my vibe with it, so it might be like an 8.5, but there are things
before you continue on, Trey, I don't want to ruin or change your score at all. And I don't want
know
to
what
be
you're saying. Yeah, you don't need to say it. Like, I know what you're saying. So, but to me, there are issues when I notice that when I come out of a movie, if I really enjoyed it, I tend to give the score of my initial feeling. But when I sit and think about a film for a bit, then I start to pick out all the things I was like, yeah, that actually didn't work for me. The ending definitely did not work for me in terms of Clooney, but like, it's one of those scenes where part of my issue with my score is I'm looking at it just as a film. And there's that other side of me is like, I know everything has gone on with this film, and it kind of ticks me off that it was used in this way, so I get a little ticked off. But I still think overall it's a solid film. In terms of movies we've gotten lately from the DCU or DCEU, however you want to look at it, when it comes to Wonder Woman 1984, when it comes to Shazam, Fury of the Gods, when it comes to Birds of Prey, when it comes to Justice League, when it comes to
The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad. Thank you. I try to block it out of my memory. When I look at those films, I go, this is a far better film than all those films, and I could actually watch this one. I do not own any of those other movies, so it's this one I will probably get when it comes out. And so I think I'm going to stay in the 8.5 to 8.8 range for me.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And it's not me trying to lower your score by any means. You liked it enough where you rate, Jurassic Park a 9.9. So this level of movie is within a 1.1 point range difference from Jurassic Park, a masterpiece of that level.
Well, it's much harder to get above a 9.5 for me. That's a range I don't say easily. But in terms of movie, yeah, like you have to understand what I loved about this movie. They did right. They did Ben Affleck right. They did Michael Keaton right for me. They did a closer telling of the Flashpoint story that I really like. Flashpoint is one of my favorite, stories ever in DC, and they did it much closer than I expected them to. Now, if it was Zack Snyder's plan, they would have done it almost to the T.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure that would have been amazing.
Yeah, but that's not what we got. We got this, and I enjoy this. And you could say maybe it was a good thing Shazam Fury of the Gods came out before this, because Shazam Fury of the Gods was atrocious. That was a hyping pile of garbage.
Still haven't watched it.
Exactly. So. I won't spoil it for you, but I hated that.
It's just one of those things where, like, it kind of makes sense to me now why James Gunn didn't say, hey, watch these movies before you see The Flash, because I did see those movies. Skywalker did a fantastic kind of like watch party movie, required viewings that he did over there of, see this movie, see that movie. And I did watch Man of Steel recently. I did watch BVS recently, and I did watch the Ultimate Edition, and I did watch Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, and you compare it to those films, like that's not fair,
So,
like,
I know. So I walk
masterpieces,
in. Yes, I walk in, and then boom, that's what I do.
But
so maybe that's
the way I look at it. I was expecting them to completely disrespect Zach, and that's not what I saw. I saw them actually paying a lot of respect to Zach, and in a way, they were really hoping that the respect they played to Zach that we really haven't seen before would help people kind of give this movie a chance. But because of all the other drama that has surrounded this film, people said, I ain't even doing that.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree to some points there. I just think that the multiple hands in the cookie jar, disrespected the characters, not disrespected Zach, disrespected the characters.
Yes, I hear you. Okay. Let's talk about, we've already kind of given our overall thoughts, but Ben, do you have any sequel ideas for where should the Flash go?
Before we go there, we should just shout out to the chat and share their ratings.
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect. Beyond the Night gave it an 8.2, 7.9 from Carrie Kelly, Deadpool with a 0.1, Batwoman with an 8.5.
There's far worse movies, Dad.
8 out of 10 should have been a 10. From Integrity 101, 7.5 from Joker's Wild, 7.1 from Mistress of Mayhem, 7.4 from Nine Lives in Hell here. TJ gave it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Not sure if that's Mom's score there. If you want to know more about Flash story, go see it. There's a tender moments. If you want a superhero movie where good triumphs over evil, don't see it, as you will be very disappointed. Okay, so maybe 3 is her rating there. 8.3 from The Batman Who Laughs, 7.1 from The Butler, 8.6 from Red Hooded Outlaw, 9.1 from Oracle's Clock Tower, 7-7 from Trevor H. 7-7 from hashtag Restore the Snyderverse guy.
Mm.
I'm not sure what the shifts
You was
are.
close. You were close, TJ.
Yeah. 8-9 for Batman 89. That's awesome.
Nice. Fair.
Quick grab a pitchfork and head over to Corey. Yep, that makes sense. 6-9. Tim's talk.
Yes.
I have not. I have not seen the Flash movie because the Flash wasn't really a superhero that I was ever really interested in until Zack Snyder's Justice League. Hashtag cancel Corey. Flashpoint Corey, like I said. So Nine Lives in Hell, I do understand like the lesson of not messing with the timeline. I just wish that they showed it a little bit better.
I think she was talking more about when you said, because I saw when that comment popped up, is when you said you would go back in time and stop yourself from seeing that movie.
Oh, that's hilarious. Hey. Oh yeah, that's a good point because the other movie would have been like Guardians of the Galaxy. So
exactly,
I could have ended
up. Would have been a James Gunn.
Even worse. You know what? You're right now, Lives in Hell here. Even worse. Don't go see that movie.
Oh yes.
Let's see. What was my rating for Black Adam? Man, I was either in the 8s or low 9s for that. I can't quite remember what that one was. I actually really enjoyed Black Adam.
And I didn't enjoy Black Adam as much as this movie because I thought they rushed it too much.
They did.
There was no story.
Oh, really? There are some cool aspects that I really liked of that. I think it was in the 8s. And I think it was mainly because it was the first time we were seeing,
Henry
just
Cavill
straight
back.
up. Henry Cavill as Batman back, and then Black Adam was just straight killing people.
Batman
So
wasn't in there.
You said Henry Cavill as Batman back.
Sorry.
You meant Superman.
Yeah. Well, no. Black Adam. Black Adam was straight killing people, is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Dear Super Bro, I think you bleed. What's up, Sean Flips? Good to see you, brother.
Sean Flips, good to see you. No, but I those are some really great scores from the chat. There's I would say it's probably in that 8-5, 8, 7 score time frame. So there's a lot of people that enjoy this movie. That makes me happy. I don't want anybody to be sad about going to see a movie or anything like that. So
how's it going, Nightmare? It's good to see you, brother. Sequel ideas for The Flash. Where do you think they'll go if they do decide? I know the box office, it got $55 million opening weekend, another $6.1 million on the holiday Monday. So not looking great. It's really going to depend on the global theater markets to ring in that money. Because last I heard, it's going to need like $600 million to break even. But let's just say, because we know Andy Muschietti is going to be directing the Batman Brave and the Bold, so they're going to stick with him on future projects. Where do you see if they do decide to greenlight a Flash sequel? Where do you see them going? Who would you like to see as the villain or the storyline to kind of take inspiration from, Fresto?
See, this is where I struggle, because I would love to see Reverse Flash. I think he's just the perfect Flash villain. I think it would be nice to see a bigger speedster fight than we got in this film. Like, a speedster was the villain, kind of, but we didn't really get to see a good speedster versus speedster fast-paced battle in slow motion. But if I'm thinking full story, I think it would be, since they kind of want to do this, multiverse thing, Flash is the easiest character to explore the multiverse with, in my opinion. I think it would be cool to, maybe have him explore said multiverse. Maybe he goes to a different Earth and meets a different Flash, i.e. Jay Garrick, maybe the one that we saw cameo in this movie, and have a story that's the two of them. And while I could see that problem with that being very similar to what it was in this movie, I think it would be interesting as if Flash is the character used as the avenue to explore the multiverse, to have a world's finest sort of storyline, but instead of Flash and Superman, it's Flash and Flash, and sort of mirroring that just the idea of Barry Allen being Jay Garrick.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, hey man, you can't go wrong with the Reverse Flash. That's always he's a cool villain. That's just it, you know. I would definitely be down for a Reverse Flash. I would also like to see, I don't know, maybe a darker twist of oh gosh, is it Mirror Master? Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to see maybe them try to figure out. I would just like to see something different because I know the CW show really, it was speedster after speedster after speedster to the point where like every time Barry was like, I am the fastest man alive. It's just like until you meet your next villain, buddy. you know, I don't know. Anything to really just kind of help progress the character. If they want to play more with the multiverse, it'd be cool. But I would like to see someone that, like you said, really challenges Barry on his superpowers. You know, so another speedster would be cool, or someone who.
Sorry, finish your.
No, I was just gonna say someone who actually creates a challenge for him rather than himself being the challenge.
Right. I think it might be an interesting way to end that movie. Maybe, might be to like end it the opposite way that this movie ended, with how this movie ended with his father getting released from prison. If they do Reverse Flash, I think it might be interesting to do, you know, the trial of the Flash at the end of the movie. Maybe Barry, like the Reverse Flash is like goes to kill Iris or his dad, and Barry, in an attempt to save them, kills the Reverse Flash and then goes to prison for it.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be interesting.
And maybe that's where that movie ends.
That'd be cool.
As a sort of cliffhanger.
I dig that. Whatever they do, I think if it's not Reverse Flash, they should at least like make him the underlying villain that is looming about to where you feel his presence that's leading up to him for the big third film, you know?
Right.
Absolutely, though. I agree with that. Super Bro, do you have any thoughts, or are you just like kill it?
No, I don't want this to be the end of Ezra Miller's Flash. I don't. I really don't. Even though I rated it the way I did, it's just because I had issues with the storyline and the storytelling. I still love the characters. I still want to see it, but I just want to see it done right. You know, I think the best way to explain it is, you know, maybe I would have liked it a little bit better if it ended the way it did, knowing that we have a second one in the making, or not. This future of this character doesn't really matter. You know what I'm trying to say there. Like, is this the only Flash movie that we're going to get? I hope not. I hope Ezra Miller comes back as Flash. I hope we see, you know, a lot of other things on top of it. But I just want to see it done right. You know, when you see Star Wars, you know, you have, you know, the heroes win in the first one. Then the second one, you know, the villains the Sith kind of take over. And then an almighty hero ending in the third and final one, right? They win it all. It's kind of how the process works. This one, I didn't get and for me personally, I didn't get that hero victory. So I don't know where to go with this personally. I'm not too familiar with the Reverse Flash story. I definitely would be interested.
He is a menace.
I would definitely be interested in learning more about it. I just, you know, again, like I said, you know, I don't know much about Flash, but I went from ZSJL, you know, saving the day Flash, to I didn't get that cheer-worthy moment that I was. Give me something that I was really hoping to see in this one. You made me curious about Reverse Flash, though. I'm definitely curious to check it out. So
he is a menace.
Mm-hmm.
He is probably the most menace.
TJ says, so how about Flash vs. Red Death?
Fiction. That would be interesting. It would need to be done right. Like the CW's Red Death was very icky in my opinion. They did not do Red Death justice. Yeah. I think there's a clever story that they could tell without going into all the other versions of Batman, from the Dark Knight's Metal, storyline. Like
So I
maybe
will say it'd be awesome to see an animated Dark Knight's Metal series or movie, whatever they want to do there.
save Red Death third. If they did do Red Death, I think an interesting way to go about that would be to, and of course, this is high hopes, would be to say, Barry goes to find Ben Affleck's Batman in this supposed nightmare timeline, and when he gets there, he's confronted with the Red Death, who is maybe played by Ben Affleck, but not the same one, not the one he's looking for, a different Batman, just played by the same actor.
Hmm.
Not because I'm not saying I want Ben Affleck's Batman as we know him to become Red Death.
Yeah.
Just that I think he would do a good job.
Interesting. Okay. Speaking of Reverse Flash, I could have swore, I almost wonder if he was in this movie and we didn't know.
Did you see
There's
what
someone
OJ
that-
said? Or no, Sean on Flash it? Flip
Well,
said?
I was just thinking like there was someone that Barry, the young Barry, kind of ran into that looked like a very big actor to me, and they didn't. They took a moment to like focus on his facial expression of like watching him, and then cut away. And I remember like pointing to Sarah, is that the dude from Game of Thrones? But I'll have to, maybe I'll talk about that in another video at some point. But as we start to wrap up our show tonight, first off, I just want to say thank you for everyone that hung out with us tonight and really stuck it through 3 hours. I did not expect it to be a 3-hour show. I was really thinking we were going to like breeze through the scene, but apparently Corey had a lot to say and we
Yeah,
had
sorry.
a lot to
Yeah.
argue.
No,
Which
no,
is good. This is what makes it
yes.
a fun show, because I feel like the arguments you had are a lot of what the same people have on Twitter are. So
Oh,
it was
really?
good to hear.
And that's fantastic because I didn't know that. I haven't been on Twitter
Yeah.
to look at anything because I didn't want spoilers or anything like that. So that's interesting that yeah,
Hold on.
I
pull
didn't
up pull up what Tim Talk said. Tim Talk. Was that Jamie Lannister? The actor who plays Jamie Lannister?
What scene are you talking?
It was literally when the young Flash gets his powers and he runs through the street and eventually like he like bumps into a whole bunch of people, and there's like one dude who was like a popular actor who's like, yeah, who plays Jamie Lannister. And I was like, why was he
He
there?
says it was.
You know, dude, if I'm not the only one that caught that, he would be a good Eobard Thawne, I feel like. So
I've heard. I mean, I don't know who that is, but I've heard a lot of people's fan casting for Eobard Thawne is the guy that plays Homelander.
yeah, he would be a great choice.
And I
too.
think he would be a fantastic choice.
Yeah, he would be an awesome choice. The dude's nuts in real life too. So, but yeah, so I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But Corey, sorry, you were saying, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
interrupt you. I
yeah.
got excited.
Yeah, no, like I'm happy to see people say that they enjoyed it. I'm not going to rain on that parade at all. I want this film. I wanted to like this film. I wanted to like it more. And maybe as I continue to learn more and more about Flash, you know, maybe there's going to be, my eyes might open up in certain ways for certain things. But as you know, a person who, you know, hasn't seen too much of Flash, minus what's in the Zack Snyder's Justice League and what we saw from that, you know, I wanted more. I just wanted more. And, you know, maybe I hyped it up too much for myself. And this, you know, like I mentioned again, I said the characters and the actors and the actresses were all fantastic. I just feel like the storytelling was lackluster and it could have been so much better. The jokes were kind of trashy as well. So, but Dan, did I love this man right here? I loved this man right here. This
As
was
Ben Affleck said, man,
this was
too
amazing.
short.
It was too short. I honestly, if I could run back and do some Speed Force stuff, I would have ran the Speed Force back and just had it be a movie about this guy. So make the Batfleck movie, you know, that would be awesome. Sell the Snyderverse, you know, whatever we got to do to
whatever,
keep these
whatever to
people
continue it.
to
Just-
continue it. I want it, you know, and I
So
hope there's
good.
more Flash movies. I just hope they do it right.
Right. Yeah. As you guys know, we always like to roll out the red carpet for my Flash expert over here, Fresto. He's giving us some Speed Force education. My man, Fresto, tell us what you got going on, big fella.
What do I have going on? I've got video games and I've got shorts. I've got a series going on right now. I'm doing a 2-player Nuzlocke with my friend. He goes by Koner. It's Soul Link Nuzlocke on a ROM hack of Pokemon Fire Red that replaces all of the Pokemon with Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, and it's great time. Those come out about once a week, and then I've got shorts that I'm doing now. I've got a few in the backlog where I've got a different friend who's guessing Yu-Gi-Oh monsters based on various things. One was, guessing which one showed up first. The other, guessing which Yu-Gi-Oh monster is I'm showing him based on a picture of its feet. And that's what I've got going on right now. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. That's what I do.
I like it. And man, your shorts have been fire lately. I freaking love them. So no joke, check them out. It's a good laugh, especially with your friend that you've been doing the guess which character or Yu-Gi-Oh card that is. It's like some of you, I can't believe it. Like I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh when I was a kid, and you guys are good. You guys are really good. So please check out and subscribe to my man Fresto. You will not be disappointed, guys. Help him you're about to get to 200 subs.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
about 6 away. Yes.
Guys, you know what to do. Do not waste time. Just subscribe and get this man. Get him to 250. Let's do that. Let's get him to 250. Just spread the word about Fresto. Help our boy. Help this community get bigger. You guys know what to do. Just do it. All right. And Corey.
Did you see this, by the way?
There were rumors he was going to play Reverse Flash, but wasn't true.
Is that
He said,
Okay.
Yeah, Nicolaj. Yeah.
I was wondering if that was in reference to the Game of Thrones actor or the guy that played Homelander.
No, the Game of Thrones actors, yeah, who's talking about. Corey, is there anything you would like to add before we or like any Indiana Jones promotion?
Well, I want to read what Mom wrote here because she said, I want to like it more also. I am always fascinated with time travel and the possibilities of spending time with loved lost ones and righting a wrong. And give me more. Yeah, give me more of this stuff, more of it. So Batwoman says she just subbed. Fresto was amazing. Great insights. Great thoughts from the guests. Yep. A lot of shout outs to Fresto right now. And Yu-Gi-Oh! I need to catch up on some Yu-Gi-Oh!
No.
Integra said, great news. I just traveled back in time and put 3-hour version of BVS in theaters. That's led to Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and Zack Snyder's Justice League 3. When I returned to the timeline, James Gunn was unemployed. Now that is a cheer-worthy moment, Trey. Cheer-worthy moments.
Right now, James Gunn's watching this like these guys.
Yo, TJ just subbed. Tilati Plays done and subbed. You guys are awesome, man.
Oh, thank you.
Really
I appreciate you guys
all.
helping out our peeps, man. That means a lot. And congrats on the 500 subs to Ladia. Guys, it's been so fun. And one thing I will say real quick about the Flash, with Super Bat Mom brought something up that kind of just made me think, where she was like, well, he didn't really have a heroic ending. But in a way, the message is beautiful, and I think that's something that needs to be reminded, is that, like, yes, we didn't get the heroic ending. The good guys didn't exactly get the fist in the air win, and the cheer win. But in the end, what they did was learn a valuable lesson, and that is something that of what makes us all heroes, is that you can't change the past, but you can make your present and future better by putting your faith and time in that, And I think that's something. Live with your scars to become a better person.
I just found out the cheer-worthy moment, Trey.
What?
In the Flash. It's continuing on what you said. It's saying, make sure you tell your mama that you love her and you appreciate her. So love you, Mom, and I appreciate you, Mom.
Exactly. You know what? Yeah. I felt the same thing when I saw the scene, and like I wanted to call Mom right away and be like, Mommy, I love you. And which I did. It was Mom's birthday that day. I called her and I was like, Mommy, I love you. Sorry, I've been a dick for all these years. But yeah,
that's the only thing that's worth cheering for.
Hurtful. But a great movie nonetheless. Corey, we got some big things coming up. Obviously, we gear up for the final Indiana Jones film, Dial of Destiny. That one's going to be heart wrenching. I especially hope I hope they do it right. But to celebrate the final Indiana Jones film coming out June 30th, Corey and I are going to be doing watch parties of all 4 films right before. So we're going to kick it off Sunday with the first Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, to Temple of Doom the next day, then Last Crusade on the 3rd film on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we're going to do the last film, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. We'd love to have you guys join us. I'll be setting up those shows tomorrow, so make sure you guys hit that notification bell. Okay, I'm texting my mom now. There you go, Coach. Just let your mom know you love
Text
her.
your dads too.
Text your dads.
Yeah, Father's Day was
Father's
just there
Day.
too.
Just because
so.
you hang out on Father's Day doesn't mean you can't
Yeah.
text your dad and say you love him.
Tell the people in your life how much they mean to you, how much they love you,
your friends,
your friends,
your
family.
brothers, even though you disagree with them. You know, your
Hey, I told you I
brother-in-laws.
loved you in the beginning before this, and now you had to ruin it. Right?
We
You had
love
to
you
ruin
guys.
it.
Make sure you smash that like, you share this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. And then for my replay crew, comment down below with your scope. I started reading the Koj's text as I was saying, so I was like, "Scos, okay, mom." Mom texted me. She then texted. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm your host Trey, and don't forget to tune in weekly.
Same bad time.
Same bad channel. See you later, guys.
Let's.
Oh, Corey's out of practice. See
no, I'm
what I
trying
done
to-
with him with all these live shows? He's out
I
of
wanted
practice.
to give like an awesome bat flick, like, yeah, you know, mean before we go. So, do I have
Minister.
anyone that I like?
You got the faith.
Oh, do you know where that one is? Yeah, where's
Which
that
one?
one? Click that one. Minister's good one.
Men are still good. There you go.
Yeah.
Man is still good.
There we
See you later, guys. Have a good night.
go. Have a good night.